cupcake and the cutlet, hit the streets and start cutting. The Israelites are bubbling, the Israelites are coming. I don't celebrate Thanksgiving, you can keep the stuffing. It's pagan, disdain, it's vain, it's nothing. The European Union about to hit the button. And I feel sorry for you if you think the Lord is bluffing. That's why I hit the booth and I tell the truth. Are you fishing with the truth? Homie, where's your fruit? If the Most High is your rock, don't treat him like a side piece. Come in this truth plan and treat you like a side piece. He's the God of mercy and wrath. So do you wanna fly or do you keep the Bible on cop? The Most High is my rock.
TK.
Rock. The Most High is my rock. The Most High is my rock. The Most High is my rock. In the name of Messiah, the Most High is my rock. The Most High is my rock. The Most High is my rock. Yeah. The Most High is my rock. I keep my Bible on cop. The Most High is my rock. No time for cupcake and the cutlet, hit the streets and start cutting. The Israelites are bubbling, the Israelites are coming. I don't celebrate Thanksgiving, you can keep the stuffing. It's pagan, disdain, it's vain, it's nothing. The European Union about to hit the button. And I feel sorry for you if you think the Lord is bluffing. That's why I hit the booth and I tell the truth. Are you fishing with the truth? Homie, where's your fruit? If the Most High is your rock, don't treat him like a side piece. Come in this truth plan and treat you like a side piece. He's the God of mercy and wrath. So do you wanna fly or do you keep the Bible on cop? The Most High is my rock.
TK.
Rock.
Shalom, Israel.
Shalom.
And welcome to the Israelite School of Biblical History and Practical Knowledge. We're located at 8524 South Braeswood Boulevard, and that's Houston, Texas, 77071. Our class times are Monday and Wednesday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Friday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. and Shabbat morning, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Our Friday classes will not be streamed live, but still feel free to come on to class because we will still be having class here in the building. On that day is the day Virginia will be streaming their class. And the school in Virginia, their address is 2610 Granby Street, Norfolk, Virginia, 23517. Their class times are Tuesday and Thursday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. and Shabbat morning, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that's Eastern Standard Time. So they're an hour ahead of us. We also have another location in San Antonio, which is located at 4219 Centergate Street, San Antonio, Texas, 78217. We have another school located in Albuquerque. Their address is 7710 Manuel Boulevard, Suite F, Albuquerque, New Mexico, 87110. This Friday, we will be celebrating the Feast of Trumpets, which will be held here at the school starting at 9 p.m. And that's the 27th, which is Friday. So Friday at 9 p.m., those of you that are here in the Houston area, please come on down so we can gather together, and commemorate the High Holy Day. Also, the Day of Atonement is coming up, which is October 6th. So that's on October 6th. And then the Feast of Tabernacles will be shortly after that, which is October 11th, starting at sundown. And the last day will be the October 18th. And so it's a 7-day feast. During that time, we won't be having class. So don't think that we ran away or we closed up shop or something happened to us. We're celebrating the holy days. We also have previously recorded kids classes on YouTube. You can find that at ISBHPK Kids. Just type that in YouTube. Kids classes are also held on the Sabbath class, during Sabbath class in the back room. Pretty fun stuff, keeps the kids engaged. it's even good for grown-ups. We also have the Blog Talk with Mashaba. You can find that at blogtalk.com/Mashaba, and that's every Tuesday and Thursday.
Blog Talk Radio.
Excuse me. blogtalkradio.com/Mashaba. Every Tuesday and Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Also, if you want a custom headband, tunic, garment, fringe shirt, armbands, you can contact the sisters on Facebook. Type in Everything Israel Wear, one word, and they'll be more than happy to fulfill your garment needs. We're also doing a raffle for a full garment, headband, tunic, armband, girdle. The raffle tickets are $3 a pop. So of course, you know what? When it comes to a raffle, the more tickets that you get, the more chance that you get of winning.
Yep.
So it's a nice garment. It'll be nice and laced up. Anyways, the school department will be selling fringe shirts. We'll keep you posted on that. Also, if you need to reach a priest, you can reach Priest Kazakia at 281-707-2737. Or you can reach Priest Batizat at 303-557-8979. And please text only during class. If you want to drop any donations, alms, or offerings, you can put that in a Wells Fargo account. That number is 1025-128996. Or if you want to mail any kind of supplies, pens, books, papers, apocryphers, Bibles, dictionaries, vehicles, computers, desks, tables, anything that would help further the education process for our people, you can send that to any of the school locations. We also have a Google Wallet if you want to put money in that way, and that's isbhbk@gmail.com. And that is it for the announcements. What we're going to be going over today is we're going to start off by going into the memorial blowing of the trumpets, so that you guys can know what the holy day is about and where it says in the scriptures, and you have the scriptures, so if anybody asks you the reason why you celebrate it, you can show them. To start off, we're going to start off here at Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 24.
And so we're going to briefly touch on this. It's not a lot of scriptures, and then we're going to let 5-1 get into his finish up his science class, his science lies. All right, so this shouldn't take too long. This is fairly simple.
Leviticus chapter 23, verse. You said 23?
Yes, sir.
23, verse 24. Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, and the first day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets, and holy convocation.
So as you see right there, this holy day, it's also a Sabbath as well. So take note of that.
Let them get the Zondervan.
Okay.
Or are you going to go there next?
Actually, I meant to start there.
Yeah, hit that first. So first, we're going to go into the Zondervan Pictorial Bible Dictionary. If you look under feast days, it gives you a list of all the different feast days that we observe as Israelites. And one of those feast days is the memorial of the blowing of the trumpets. What page you on?
Page 280 in the brown.
Yeah, 280, Zondervan.
Dictionary.
Again, you just go under feast days, and then you look for memorial of the blowing of the trumps / new moon. What does it say?
Con. The Feast of Trumpets or New Moon. This was held on the first day of the 7th month, Tishri, our October, which began the civil year of the Jews. It corresponded to our New Year's Day, and on it from morning to evening, horns and trumpets were blown.
Now, I know it says New Year's Day and Civil Year. If you don't know what that is, when they came up with the Gregorian calendar, they came up with this physical year and this civil year. Now, when we went through this before, and you know, when you really go into it, they try to say that the October is when Adam and Eve were created, so that's the real New Year. But it don't say nothing like that in the scriptures. It don't say that in the Bible. That it don't give you a time or a date. It don't give you a month. We know from from Leviticus, the first month is Abib. That's the first month of the year. So that's always our new year, which is about late March, early April.
Spring.
Late March, early April, springtime. So don't get caught up in the civil year and what it says. It says civil year, and what does it say?
It says the first day of the seventh month, our October, which begins the civil year of the Jews. It corresponds to our New Year's Day.
Right. Our New Year, we know that's Passover time. Okay? This all came about, this civil year. And all a civil year is, when you look it up by definition, is a time. And this is how you know that it came about during the Gregorian calendar. When you look it up, it's a 365 or 366 day period. Alright? Now we know that we went lunar way back. It was every 30 days. A month had 30 days in it. So it wasn't 365, it wasn't leap years back in that time. This was all added during, the Gregorian calendar, the calendar that we follow now here in America, that Greco-Roman calendar. That's when that leap year and having 31 days in a month, or 29 or 26 or 28, that was all added in that time. So our new year is during the Passover, around that time, springtime, April. All right, go ahead.
After the exile, the day was observed by the public reading of the law and by general rejoicing.
Was that in on that?
Yep.
So that's what the Zondervan has to say about the memorial blowing of the trumpets. As we just seen, as we just read in Leviticus 23 and 24, this is to be it's a Sabbath day. Not only is it a Sabbath day, you know how we treat the Sabbath. So being that it's going to be this Friday, that means we're going to have like a double Sabbath. So we're going to have a Sabbath Friday. It's going to be a Sabbath Friday because the holy day, and it's going to be a Sabbath on the Sabbath. Y'all got that? Okay. So from there,
You finish on Leviticus?
Keep reading.
verse 25.
Leviticus chapter 23, verse 25. Ye shall do no servile work therein,
Read.
but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Most High.
Yeah, so it's treated just like a Sabbath. No servile work. It's supposed to be a day of rest, a day of congregating, coming together, getting together, just like any Sabbath. But from there, let's go to Numbers 10 and verse 1.
But it is a feast day, so remember, we're going to be getting together and commemorating the feast day. So what do we do during the feast? We eat, we drink, we have a little fun. That's what we're going to do, because it is a feast day. All right, you're not going to lay with your woman that night. And especially, it's going right into the Sabbath anyway, so you're definitely not going to do that. We just have fun. What's up?
Say a little.
Oh, because some cats will?
I just made a little noise like,
Who did? What's up? What's that?
I didn't know that.
On the Sabbath?
Yeah.
Go to Isaiah 58:13. Go to Isaiah 58:13. Yeah.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 58, verse 13.
Go to Songs of Solomon 7 and 3, 2. Read Isaiah 58:13.
If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath,
Go ahead.
from doing thy pleasure.
Doing what?
Doing thy pleasure.
Go ahead.
On my holy day. And call the Sabbath a delight.
Read.
The holy of the Most High, honorable, and shalt honor him. Not doing thine own ways.
Not doing what?
Doing thine own ways.
Right. The whole purpose of the Sabbath, think about it. If you're thinking about laying with your woman, then your mind is off of thinking about the Most High. You got 7 days, or you got 6 other days to deal with your woman. You got 6 other days to do a lot of things. We're supposed to be giving our mind, at least for that day, to the Most High. Now, our mind should always be on the Most High and everything that we do, but much more 10 times the Sabbath, man. You know, somebody else give me Romans real quick. Give me Romans. What is it? Romans 13? No, Romans. Most High week that. Acts 17. Wow. Give me Acts 17. I don't know why I said Romans. That's crazy.
17 and 30.
Yeah, give me Acts 17 and 30 real quick. Because there was a, right? And you say you didn't know, so read Acts 17 and 30.
The book of Acts, chapter 17, verse 30.
Go ahead.
In the times of this ignorance.
See, so in the times that you were ignorant of the do's and don'ts of the Sabbath, go ahead.
The Most High winked at.
Yeah, the Most High winked at it. He gave you a pardon. Go ahead.
But now, commanded all men everywhere to.
But now that you've read, and we can go more into it, but now that we're going through it and showing you what it is that you're not supposed to do on the Sabbath, which is one of them is laying with your woman. He called what?
To repent.
Yeah, you got to repent from that. You got to turn away from doing that. Now that you know, just don't do it no more. That's all it is. Go back to, you read Isaiah 58:13?
Come.
So it said, from doing thy own pleasures, right? Go to Songs of Solomon, go to Wisdom of Solomon 7. Because, you know, we do have a lot of us take pleasure in a lot of different things. Let me say it like that. Some of us do what? Take pleasure in Netflix and chilling all day. You take pleasure in being on your phone, social media. You take pleasure in drinking. You're supposed to put those things that you take pleasure in and study, give your mind, meditate on the Most High. Again, at least for that day. I mean, think about how many things we meditate on throughout a course of 7 days. A lot, right? You gotta worry about the things of work. You gotta worry about the things of your household. You gotta worry about your woman. You gotta worry about yourself. If you got children, you gotta worry about them. Now, I'm not saying don't worry about or don't think about your house or your women, but you gotta be making sure that your mind is on the Most High for that day. Y'all get this? Go ahead, read that.
Wisdom of Solomon 7.
Read verse 1.
Wisdom of Solomon chapter 7 verse 1.
Uh-huh.
I myself also am a mortal man,
right?
Like to all, and the offspring of him that was first made of the earth.
Go ahead, read verse 2.
And in my mother's womb was fashioned to be flesh in the time of 10 months.
Right.
Being compacted in blood of the seed of man.
Right, so this is Solomon breaking down how men are created. Now there's a reason why I go here, because at the end of this precept, it's going to bring it together of what is considered pleasure, or one of the pleasures that we take, where Isaiah tells you not to do your own pleasure or your own ways or speak your own words. Go ahead.
And the pleasure that came with sleep.
The what?
And the pleasure that came with sleep.
Right, so what is that pleasure? Sexual intercourse, right? The pleasure that comes with sleep. That's how a man is made. Y'all get this, right?
Okay.
Right. Read verse 2 one more time.
Wisdom of Solomon chapter 7 verse 2.
Go ahead.
And in my mother's womb was fashioned to be flesh in the time of 10 months.
Right.
Being compacted in blood.
Right.
Of the seed of man.
Right. So this is Solomon showing you how birth how conception happens. Go ahead.
And the pleasure that came with sleep.
Right, so he's letting us know. He came from the pleasure that came with sleep, sex, from the seed, compacted with blood, 10 months. He just did it backwards. But I go here to show you that where it says in Isaiah 58:13, doing not your own pleasures, what is one of the pleasures? Well, the pleasure that comes with sleep is intercourse. So we don't want to be doing that on the Sabbath. It's a day to be holy and sanctified. Now, again, if you're worried about how you're gonna please your woman, how are you worried about pleasing the Most High? Or if she's worried about pleasing you, where is the thought that I need to at least give my mind to the Most High for a day? You see that?
Oh, also when you have that emission of semen, you're unclean until evening. So you're not. For one thing, you're supposed to be focused on the Most High, and for two, you're not supposed to be making yourself unclean purposely.
And then also, if it was a holy convocation, if we were coming together,
you could be in the sanctuary.
Well, even before that, if we were all coming together, right? How would you even have time to do all that? If the scriptures tell us, go to Leviticus 23. Go to Leviticus 23:1. Because the thing with the Sabbath was that this was the first solemn assembly of the week. All right, somebody look up solemn assembly. Read Leviticus 23:1.
Book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 1.
Go ahead.
And the Most High spake unto Moses,
Read.
saying, Speak unto the children of Israel,
Go ahead.
and say unto them, concerning the feast of the Most High.
So he said concerning the feasts, but this is the first thing he names in the feast. Go ahead.
Which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations.
Somebody look up that word convocate or convocations. Read.
Even these are my feasts.
Go ahead.
6 days shall work be done.
Right.
But the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest.
So that's the first holy convocation or first feast. You see that? So let's look up who got the word convocate or convocation.
Got it.
What you got?
The act of assembling in summons.
No, the act of assembling by summons. So a convocation is the act of coming together by a summons. Now, when they give you a summons from court, they say you got to be in court this day. You got to be there, right? The Bible right here is giving you the summons. It's telling you got to get together. That's first and foremost. So you didn't have time to be worried about how I'm going to please my woman and lay with my woman because you were with the brothers. You were with the sisters. You were with the nation. Remember the 2 men that got taken collecting sticks? And they were killed? They were killed not because they picked up sticks. They were killed because they separated from everyone else. Or excuse me, he was killed because he separated from everyone else. He was supposed to be joining the convocation, joining the celebration, hanging out with everyone else, but he decided, I'm going to do my own thing. You see that? So that's why we have the Sabbath class, daytime, nighttime, street speaking, to keep brothers' minds off of that anyway. You try to keep your mind in the spirit. That way you ain't worried about your woman and pleasing her. How do I please the Most High? How do I keep my spirit right? And she should be on the same page. Not necessarily worried about pleasing your flesh, but how do I please my husband in the spirit? You see that? So that one day, above all days, that's the day where we cease from any sexual intercourse. Alright? You need more?
That's from
Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. It's a day. Yep. Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. Yep.
And you should be assembling together.
Yeah, like we have class. We have class on Friday. And then we have class in the morning on Saturday. 10 to it depends. Depends. As I was teaching that day. No, we go from like 10 to 2. We go from like 10 to 2, depending on who's teaching. But yeah, we make sure that we try to get together. But then, you know, on these holy days, some of the holy days are Sabbaths. They start out with a Sabbath, and some don't. Not all are. But if it's a Sabbath, you don't lay with your wife that night. Make sense?
God.
No, I'm waiting.
Okay.
I feel like you got more. I feel like you got another question.
Yeah, now you say the holy days.
High holy days, like the feast days.
You mean if they land on a Sabbath?
Well, some of them are Sabbaths. They won't land on a Sabbath. Some of them are Sabbaths. Like
this one.
well, that it lands on a Sabbath. It's tomorrow.
Oh.
Yeah. What's another one? What's another high holy day that's a Sabbath? Day of Atonement. The Day of Atonement. You know, that's a fact. That's a fast. So you're not having sex, you're not eating, you're not drinking, but it's a Sabbath also. Passover.
Okay.
Yeah. So they might not necessarily start on a Friday or a Sabbath day, but they are considered a Sabbath, where you sanctify yourself away from, you know, sexual intercourse and things like that.
Yeah, just on that point, go to Exodus 19 real quick, verse 14. And just to show you that sexual intercourse was considered unclean. All right, to show you that, yeah, you didn't have sex with your wives on the Sabbath. All right, because you got cats out there that's saying, oh, well, it don't say you can't have sex on the Sabbath. It tells you to be holy, be clean on that day. And the way you made yourself clean was this. Read that.
Exodus chapter 19, verse 14.
Right, you're going to read 14 and 15.
And Moses went down from the mount unto the people, and sanctified the people, and they washed their clothes.
Right, so he set them apart for a holy purpose. That's what it means to sanctify somebody. So he sanctified the people. He had them set apart for a holy purpose. And in doing that, what did they have to do? Read.
And he said unto the people, be ready against the third day. Come not at your wives.
Don't what?
Come not at your wives.
So for one way that you sanctified yourself in the eyes of the Most High is you didn't sleep with your wife. You didn't have sex.
Yeah.
Y'all see that? So in order to be sanctified or holy on the Sabbath, you can't come at your wives.
And it wasn't that sex was a sin or anything like that, or is a sin. It's the omission of semen.
Right, it made you ceremonially unclean.
Right, the omission of semen made you unclean. You were unclean into that even. So you didn't do what was going to make you unclean to not be able to enter into the sanctuary. You see that? That's what it was about, being able to go do your service or show up to the sanctuary and worship the Most High. Now, you can't do that if you're unclean. You have to stay apart. So he said, okay, well, so for y'all not to have an excuse, just don't be unclean in that way. You see that?
And just so you can reference where it talks about being unclean when you have that emission of semen, you can find that in Leviticus chapter 15 and verse 16.
Read it real quick.
Someone grab Leviticus chapter 15 and verse 16.
Leviticus chapter 15, verse 16?
Yes, sir.
And if any man's seed of copulation go out from him,
So that seed, that emission of semen, go ahead.
then he shall wash all his flesh
Go ahead.
in water, and be unclean until the even.
See, right there it says you're going to be unclean until the evening. So you're not trying to be ceremonially unclean for a holy day or for the Sabbath.
Yeah.
Throw in one more. It's 1 Samuel 21 verse 4.
Where were you just at? Leviticus what?
15 and 16.
1 Samuel 21 verse 4. Let me know when y'all got it.
21 verse 4.
Uh-huh.
1 Samuel chapter 21 and verse 4. And the priest answered David and said, there is no common bread under mine hand.
So if y'all know the story, David's running from Saul, and he's got his mighty men with him. They haven't eaten. and they get to the priest, the temple, and Abiathar the priest is telling them, "Hey, we don't have any regular food here. The only thing we have here is the showbread. All right, you got to be holy to eat that. You got to be on the priest level of holy, clean. You understand?
Yep.
And if you know about the priest level of holy, you got to read the book of Numbers and Deuteronomy and find out how the priests had to clean themselves, wear linens, had to wear linen breeches, couldn't sweat, right? So they had to be on a whole different level of cleanliness.
Think about it. They couldn't sweat. So why would you be able to walk into the temple full of semen all over you? Or dirty from ejaculation? They couldn't even sweat. Can you prevent sweat? Barely. It's hard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you see the level?
No.
You see the level? So, yeah, go ahead.
But there is hallowed bread.
So he said there's hallowed bread, all right? There's holy bread, sanctified bread. Go ahead.
If the young men have kept themselves at least from women,
If they did what?
kept themselves at least from women,
What qualified them to be able to eat the showbread?
kept themselves at least from women.
See that? If they had been laying with women, they wouldn't have been able to eat the showbread. That would have made them unclean. So wherever you get these cats that's talking about, okay, well, you could have sex on the Sabbath. No, you can't. You won't be clean on the Sabbath.
Right.
God? Read on.
Verse 5. And David answered the priest and said unto him, Of a truth women have been kept from us about these 3 days, since I came out, and the vessels of the young men are holy.
The vessels of the young men are what?
Holy.
Because they didn't sleep with women for 3 days. So their vessels were holy. So how are you going to remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy if you don't slept with a woman?
Yeah, you want to keep it filthy.
See, David understood these things. He wasn't trying to find loopholes. You know what I mean? He wasn't trying to find ways where he could get his own pleasure on the Sabbath. He knew, listen, as a righteous man, sex is going to make me unclean. Y'all see that? So it was understood for any righteous man that, hey, you know what? I'm not coming before the Most High with some female's juices all up under my belt. Y'all see that? With some weird smell on my fingers. That we didn't do that. You understand? We had standards, man. We gotta bring that back with Israel, man. Having standards, like a king.
Why y'all think that when the heathen came into the temples to knock it down and destroy it, one of the main things they did was have sex in there? That was one of the alternate. They had sex and they offered up pork. Two of the main ways to just defile the temple. They knew it. Sexual intercourse and pork. That defiled everything. So, we don't want to, on the Sabbath days, you don't want to defile or be unholy, unclean, and then try to present yourself to the Most High. Remember, it's up here. If you're worried about pleasing your woman, you're not worried about what the Most High wants for that day. You get that? We good on that?
Yeah.
Let's jump back and finish this tabernacles up, and then I want to get a bar of this class. So we hit the Zondervan Dawiyad. We're not going to repeat the whole thing, but we hit the Zondervan page. What? What page are you in the Zondervan?
I think it was 283. Give me 1 second.
Right, when you go in the Zondervan Pictorial Bible Dictionary,
280.
page 280 under feast days, you look up
The number 4, Feast of Trumpets.
Right, memorial of the blowing of the trumpets or new moon. We got the definition, and then we hit Leviticus what?
Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 24.
Right. Now you go into Numbers.
There was one more thing I wanted to say on that Leviticus. Can someone grab that from me real quick?
Gotcha. Verse 17.
Verse 24.
And verse 24.
24.
You said
Leviticus 23 and 24.
Yes, sir. Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 24.
Yes, sir. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 24.
Go ahead.
Speak unto the children of Israel,
Read.
saying, in the 7th month, in the first day of the month.
Okay, so it says in the 7th month, in the first day of the month. So y'all could be looking like, well, that's not this month.
Right.
You know, but you got to remember, like Quatazat was touching on slightly, that we're not going off of the American calendar.
Yeah, the Gregorian calendar. We're going off our time frame, our calendar.
Con.
Even though you could, because all the months that are named in English, so-called English, are basically giving you an indication of what the real calendar was. All right, so if you're in October, right? Octo meaning 8th month. All right, so according to the Hebrew calendar, the October will be the 8th month. It would be the last part of the last part of October will be the 8th month. Y'all see that? When you deal with November, it has to do with 9th month. December, Deca, 10th month. Y'all see that? They're all named right, but they twisted it for you. They twisted it to throw you off.
And then they added the days, because even when you look at that Zondervan, it tells you September and October are those 7th, 8th. So they add all these days, and it kind of just keeps pushing things. So you look at October, you're like, well, wait a minute, October is supposed to be the 8th. But they say it's the 7th, but it's the end, it's the ending. But they added so many days to the calendar. What is it? Just 5, 6 days. So it kind of just throws things off. Yeah.
So go ahead.
And the first day of the month shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets.
Should you have a what?
A memorial.
No, a what?
A memorial.
No, go back to the Sabbath. You should have a what?
In the 7th month, and the first day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath.
You should have a Sabbath. You see that? So he's telling us that it's a Sabbath day. Sanctify yourself. Separate from your woman as far as that level. Keep your eyes on the Most High. Come together with everybody. Celebrate the feast day. Go ahead.
A memorial of blowing of trumpets and holy convocation.
A holy gathering. A holy gathering. We're supposed to come together on these Sabbaths. We're supposed to come together on these holy days. From there, real quick, I just want to touch on this, just because we were talking about the days and the times. Ecclesiasticus chapter 43 and verse 6.
And this feast is also the feast of new moon.
Con.
So when does a new moon happen? Or when does it signal? What does a new moon signify? The beginning of a month. So every month we blew the trumpets to signify that new month. Every 30 days, every time the moon, or what is it, 29 and a half days? They say the moon does its cycle. We blew the trumpets. So this was the Feast of Trumpets or the Feast of New Moon. So every 30 days, we blew that trumpet. Where you going?
Ecclesiasticus chapter 43, verse 6. He made the moon also to serve in her seasons for a declaration of times.
For a declaration of what?
Of time.
So it lets you know what time it is. What time of year. How we kept track of our months. How we kept track of our feast days. Read on.
And a sign of the world.
Go ahead.
From the moon is the sign of feast.
From the moon is the sign of what?
Feast.
It's a sign of feast. So we went off the moon. That's why, like in the scriptures, it says the seventh month, first day. Well, we're not going off of the calendar that you see, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're not going off of that. We're going off of what the scriptures say, the moon.
Yeah, we had a lunar calendar. We had a lunar calendar as Hebrews. We had a lunar calendar. We didn't go off of how they go off of this days. We went off the moon. Every time there was a new moon, whatever that looked like, we blew the trumpets. That's a new month. And we kept track of the months. All right? You got something? Go ahead.
Finish that up.
A light that decreaseth in her perfection.
All right, from there, give me Numbers chapter 10 and verse 1. Numbers 10 and verse 1.
Right.
And we're going to take that down to verse 10.
Numbers chapter 10, verse 1.
Go ahead.
And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, Make thee 2 trumpets of silver, of a whole piece shalt thou make them, that thou mayest use them for the calling of the assembly, and for the journeying of the camps.
So these trumpets, they weren't no Rudy Pudo trumpets. They were actually nice handcrafted trumpets out of silver. And we use them for assembly, and we use them for our journey, and read on.
Verse 3. And when they shall blow with them, all the assembly shall assemble themselves to thee at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation.
Okay, so when the trumpets are blown, we're supposed to assemble together. Go ahead.
And if they blow, but with one trumpet, then the princes, which are heads of the thousands of Israel, shall gather themselves unto thee.
Read.
When ye blow an alarm, then the camps that lie on the east parts shall go forward. When ye blow an alarm the second time, then the camps that lie on the south side shall take their journey.
So it was just giving the ordinances of the sounds of the trumpet. So when you hear it sound one time, these people move. When you hear it sound twice, these people move this way. Just different ordinances of the sounding of the trumpets. Go ahead.
They shall blow an alarm for their journeys.
Go ahead.
But when the congregation is to be gathered together, ye shall blow, but ye shall not sound an alarm.
Because we're gathering together for a holy convocation. We're blowing the trumpets for a gathering. Go ahead.
And the sons of Aaron, the priests, shall blow with the trumpets, and they shall be to you for an ordinance forever throughout your generations.
So if you ever come to the schools, or you ever come to celebrate the holy days, whether it's Passover, Day of Atonement, blowing of the trumpets, we always sound the horn. Even on the Sabbath, we blow the horn because that was our custom. It says, read that last verse again.
And they shall be to you for an ordinance forever throughout your generations.
Yeah, this is the ordinances. This is the things we're saying, faithful to what the scriptures say, and continuing the ordinances as they were delivered to us. Read on.
And real quick, let me say this for Dawiyah. Yeah, your question is it one day or 2 days or back to back? So the feast starts tomorrow at sundown.
Okay.
Or it's not tomorrow. Excuse me. It starts Friday sundown. Excuse me.
I thought it was.
Yeah, it starts Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. So it'll just be a double Sabbath. You see that? So it's not back-to-back Sabbaths. It's just a double Sabbath. So Friday sundown is when the Sabbath starts. That's when the feast starts. That's why we're celebrating tomorrow. Friday. I keep saying tomorrow. That's why we're celebrating it at 9. Everybody gets off of work. The businesses are closed. We'll be able to get a couple of hours in. All right. So yeah. So it starts right with the Sabbath. But let's say it started. Let's say the feast was on Thursday. It would be Thursday sundown into Friday sundown. Then Friday sundown takes us right into the Sabbath. So it'll be a back-to-back Sabbath if it started on Thursday, but it doesn't. It starts on Friday. Friday night sundown. All right. Hopefully that clears it up. Hopefully that clears that up. So it is Friday sundown to Saturday sundown, along with the Sabbath. So it makes it a double Sabbath. Go ahead, where you reading at?
Verse 9. And if you go to war in your land against the enemy that oppresseth you,
Go ahead.
then you shall blow an alarm with the trumpets.
Read.
And you shall be remembered before the Most High your power, and you shall be saved from your enemies.
So the trumpet also represented us being remembered by the Most High when we sounded them. Read on, last verse.
Also in the day of your gladness, and in your solemn days.
Solemn days, our days of our gladness, when we get together for these feast days, it's supposed to be fun, joyous, a celebration, not something like, oh shoot, I gotta do this. I gotta do the feast. Oh, I gotta gather together with these people. Oh, I don't feel like doing it. Man, we're supposed to show out the same type of excitement that we used to for 4th of July. People used to get excited about popping fireworks or barbecuing.
Right.
We're supposed to show the same excitement for these holy days, coming back to our true culture, our true nationality as Israelites. So, read that from the top.
Verse 10. Also in the day of your gladness,
Go ahead.
and in your solemn days,
Uh-huh.
and in the beginnings of your months,
Read.
ye shall blow with the trumpets over your burnt offerings,
Go ahead.
and over the sacrifices of your peace offerings,
Uh-huh.
that they may be to you for a memorial before your power. I am the Most High, your power.
So there it is. That's what the trumpets were for. We use these trumpets for several different reasons, and we are commemorating the blowing of these trumpets. From there, give me Numbers chapter 29 and verse 1.
Numbers chapter 29 verse 1.
Read.
And in the 7th month, on the first day of the month, you shall have an holy convocation.
Okay, so this is the same memorial blowing of the trumpets that I was talking about in Leviticus. It's just reiterating it. Go ahead.
You shall do no servile work.
Go ahead.
It is a day of blowing the trumpets unto you.
So that's just another precept to go along with the blowing of the trumpets. From there, give me Psalm chapter 81 and verse 1.
Psalms chapter 81 verse 1.
Go ahead.
Sing aloud unto Yahweh,
Read.
our strength.
Yeah, sing aloud. A joyful sound. Go ahead.
Make a joyful noise unto the Most High of Jacob.
We're supposed to celebrate. This is fun. This is good times. Read on.
Take a song and bring hither the timbrel
Read.
and the pleasant harp with the psaltery.
Go ahead.
Blow up the trumpet in the new moon and in the time appointed on our solemn feast day.
Yeah, we're supposed to be doing this on our feast days. That's why for anybody that's ever gathered with us in Houston, and for those of y'all that haven't gathered with us, you should come on by. We get together, we play some music. Brothers sometimes get on a mic, like I'm on the mic right now. Sometimes somebody might want to spit a few bars, or somebody might want to hum a few tunes. But we're having a good time. We're joyous. We're having fun. Go ahead.
Verse 4.
Yeah.
For this was a statute for Israel and a law of the Most High of Jacob.
It was a what?
A statute for Israel and a law of the Most High of Jacob.
This is a law. Y'all gotta have fun. That's book. It's law. That's what the Most High bringing out. And man, it shouldn't even have to be like it's a law. Man, Most High say come together, have a good time. Remember me in these things. Man, it shouldn't be grievous. It should be like, dang, yeah, I finally get to take a break from all these heathen, being around all these heathen, and being around my people, doing some things that my people like to do, instead of participating in all these other activities that the heathens have us participating in the world. Whether it's like potluck at work, or what's a Halloween, they start dressing up, or celebrate the Texans Day, everybody come wear a jersey to work day, whatever. Let's celebrate some of our real stuff, some of the things that the Most High commanded us to celebrate.
Right.
From there, give me.
How much more you got?
Oh, I can stop.
No, I was wondering. Yeah, it was. I mean, y'all get it, right? Yeah. No, they got it. Yeah, that's what it was. We just, it signified the new month. We blew the trumpets. It's a feast day, so that's what we're gonna do. There was a question about Joel 3 and 8. Who are the Sabians? Did I say it right?
Yeah, Sabians.
Sabians. Go to Joel 3 and 8 real quick. I mean, if y'all are online, let me know. I mean, yeah, it was a brother was telling me. Yeah, the one thing. Let me say one thing about these feast days, man. We got different camps that go off of different dates. Okay, so yeah, a brother did hit me up talking about. A brother told me that he shouldn't be eating today, which was yesterday. I said, why not? He said, because it's the Day of Atonement. I'm like, okay. What school is it? IUIC. They do things differently from everybody else. They do everything a month ahead. Even, listen, even ISUBK, you know, they do this, the Passover around the same time, April. They do all the feast days around the same time as everybody else. But IUIC, they're always a month ahead. They do everything a month ahead. I don't know what calendar they're going off of or what they're using, but that's how they want to do it. That's the problem with Israel right now. We're divided. Yeah. So if you with them, if you with IUIC, follow what they follow. If you with us, follow what we follow. That's all it is. You ain't gotta worry about what IUIC is doing. As long as they keep it today, I mean, I guess that's what it's about, right?
Right.
Yeah. But don't be double-minded and try to keep it with them and then keep it with us. No. If you follow IUIC, follow IUIC. Follow them wholeheartedly. If you follow this school wholeheartedly. You'll eliminate that confusion out of your life. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 8. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabians, to a people far off.
Right. So what the Most High is doing, he's telling our enemies what's going to happen in those last days. How he's going to recompense them. All right. So when he pays them back, we the children of Judah are going to be selling our enemies, the so-called white man and these other nations that put us in slavery. We're going to be selling them off to the Sabians. The Sabians will be a branch of the Cushites. All right, they'll be a Hamitic race. So we're going to be selling them to the Africans that sold us into slavery. You understand? So all that's going down in South America or South Africa right now, where the white man's getting his land taken, right, by the South Africans. They're getting their land taken because they don't belong there. They're going to be there, but they're going to be working the land. It's happening right now. The Most High is already making that shift happen. They're going from landowners to slaves. Y'all see that? And then we're going to take them from here, and we're going to go over to South Africa. We're going to sell the rest of the white men that thought they was going to escape that. We're going to sell them from the remnant of America. We're going to sell them back over to the Sabians. Right? So that's going to be the basically you know them as Ethiopians or Cushites now. All right? We knew them as Hamites and Canaanites and Cushites back then. We're going to be selling all these so-called white men to them. That's going to be their slavery.
And don't get caught up. I know if you look it up, it says they're from Southern Arabia. Yeah, like Yemen. When you go all the way into history, I've been looking into it. Like Queen of Sheba, it says she was a queen of the South, but she originated from Yemen, and then she ruled Yemen, Ethiopia. She ruled what's under Ethiopia? Eritrea, Somalia. She ruled that region. That's why they call her the Queen of the South. So when you look at Southern Arabia, that's Yemen. That's right there, right next. It's literally, 90 miles from Ethiopia?
And these are both nations of people that sold us into slavery.
Yeah.
When you read Joel, we went into slavery by the Arabians and by the people of Tyre and Sidon.
Yep.
All right, and all the coast of Palestine, right? So when you read that, was it Joel 3 verse 1 down?
Yeah, that's what we're in.
He says that about, will you render me a recompense? And he talks about Tyre and Zidon and all the coast of Palestine.
Right.
That's the Arabs and the Africans that sold us into slavery.
Yep.
You understand?
Yeah.
All right. Just so everybody's caught up on that.
So they gonna be we're gonna sell the people that sold us into slavery to sell the people that sold us.
Yeah.
The so-called white man.
What about the ones if they sold us, how they gonna own slaves?
The so-called white man that kept us in slavery because they overstepped. That's where they're going. They're going in slavery to those same people.
Mm-hmm.
They're going in slavery to the Arabs and to the Africans.
But those people are not gonna be slaves themselves.
They got a recompense coming too, but it ain't as complete as what the white man got coming. Because see, the thing is they were just doing their job. They did their job. They were supposed to. They were prophesied to sell us into slavery. Esau was prophesied to buy us in slavery. But so far as raping our women, cutting out babies, dashing them against the stones, all that stuff, they excelled. They went too far past their mandate from the Most High. All they were supposed to do was whoop us a little bit. But they went beyond that. Alright, shooting our kids out in the streets, that's beyond that. Putting pork in every single thing they can feed us, that's beyond what they were meant to do. Alright, taking baby fetuses, human baby fetuses, and putting that in your food as a flavoring, that's beyond.
Mountain Dew.
You understand? Their mandate was just to put us into slavery. Their mandate wasn't to defile our spirits, push homosexuality on us. I was watching the reincarnated Roseanne show, and I'm like, damn, okay, it's not bad, you know what I mean? But here comes this little boy-girl thing, right? And this is supposed to be her granddaughter. And I'm like, I'm glad they killed off Roseanne because she would have been clowning on this little nigga the whole show. Because this dude comes out, he's wearing a dress, and then you got Dan, he's over there like, like they couldn't even make him act that out. They had to like write it into the script because he's just like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like I got a damn boy girl for a grandson. Y'all see that? But they trying to push this stuff to you. You like, okay, y'all remember Roseanne, right? And then you got this show, whatever the hell this is, like now you got damn tranny. This kid is like 10 or 11 years old, and he's a tranny. And he's known as a boy, but he dresses like a girl, and he wants to have, and he's trying to decide which one of these two boys is going to be his boyfriend. Just pushing confusion on you, and you're like, you know, like if you came from the old school show, you're like, I'm going to throw up on myself. You know what I mean? Because this would never go down in the original Roseanne. But then you watching this, and it's like they have to push all the agenda, man. In one show, you had the interracial marriage, right? The son, DJ, he's now interracially married to the darkest chick on the planet.
And he was gay as hell in the original show.
He was acting gay.
He was real soft.
But he's married to the blackest woman they could find. So they threw the interracial marriage in there. They throw the tranny in there. You know what I mean? And then the daughter, she's the granddaughter's like 16, and she's already having sex in the first show. You know what I mean? They pushed all that into the very first show, man. That's Esau going above their mandate, man. Where they trying to defile your spirit, defile your children, putting that stuff in the cartoons. That's above and beyond, man. You understand? So yeah, they gonna get sold into slavery. That's why Revelation 13 and 10 says, "He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity, and he that killeth with the sword must be killed by the sword." Because that's all what Esau got coming to them, man.
It also says double the cup.
Yep.
Double up their cup. So did they not sell our kids in slavery? Yeah, it tells you that in Deuteronomy that they were going to do it. So we definitely going to be doing that, taking their kids and selling their kids as slaves. So yeah, those Sabians, yeah, they're just the family of Cush, and at that time, Cush was in the southern peninsula of Saudi Arabia. They were in Yemen, they were in Djibouti, they were in Ethiopia, Eritrea, and that little region of the world.
Yeah, before everybody started migrating even further south. A lot of that wasn't even inhabited back then. Yep.
So Dorothy, I hope you got that. Yeah. We got an hour, so you gonna be good to go to your class?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna let that one finish up his class. His science lies is a good one, so we'll let him finish that up for the next hour. Blow our minds with more scientific facts.
So if you remember, we left off with we found out that the sun isn't stationary like Esau lied and said. All right. So they told you, Copernicus and all these so-called astronomers, they told you the sun is stationary, right? Sitting out there in space, millions of miles away, somehow heating us up, even though the rest of space is cold and black in a vacuum. And like all these lies just started stacking up. Fire can't exist in a place where there's a vacuum. Fire has to feed off of oxygen, but the sun is burning out in the middle of space with no oxygen. So that don't make sense, right? Then it's millions of miles away, heating us up all the way down here on little old Earth, but the rest of space is negative 270 degrees.
Doesn't make sense.
Right? Y'all see the movies they try to do on space, right?
Yeah.
You know, Guardians of the Galaxy, the dude went out the spaceship and he started freezing to death, right? Turned into a solid block of ice. But then you get another movie, they go out into space and they explode.
Yep.
Because they told you that on Earth, you're under 15 pounds of pressure per square inch. And so your body is naturally pushing against that. And if you go into space, you're not under that pressure anymore, so your body just explodes. All that pressure, you push, your body starts pushing against that pressure that's not there anymore, and you just explode. So one movie's telling you turn into a solid block of ice, the other one telling you explode. That's how you know that it's not a definitive, proven fact that when you go out there, you either freeze or you explode. They don't know. Y'all see that? They're not sure what's going on out there.
They never been.
Yeah. So from there, we're going to find out where did this notion of planets come from. All right, so we went through the space lies, we went through the sun, the moon, the stars, how they're orientated, how they don't fall, they don't travel through space, none of that. They're all stationed, they're all put in their stations. The stars are all put in their stations, right? The sun is moving, it's actually going through circuits, the moon is going through circuits, right? Now we're going to go into this lie about the planets, because you can do it right now. Any of y'all that got a concordance, look up the word planets in the Bible. But don't worry, we're going to go into it anyway. The word planets is only in the Bible one time, and we're going to go to the scripture, and you'll see that it's only talking about the other nations' gods. You understand? So they're looking at the brightest stars that they can find, and they say, oh, that's Jupiter, hail Jupiter. Oh, that's Mars, hail Mars. But they all just stars that they point at, man. But let's go through the scriptures and find out, man. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 15. Let's find out where this notion of planets came from. Let me know when y'all got it. We're going to read Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 15 through 19.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 15. Take ye therefore good heed unto yourselves, for ye saw no manner of similitude on the day that the Most High spake unto you in a ram out of the midst of the fire.
Right, so the Most High saying, listen, watch yourselves. I didn't show you a figure. I didn't give you no image to worship. I didn't come down as a bull. I didn't come down as an eagle, a serpent. I didn't come down as myself. I didn't give you an image. I just talked to you out of the fire, out of the burning bush. So he didn't give us no image that we could carve and say, okay, this is our God, and worship it. Go ahead.
Lest ye corrupt yourselves and make you a graven image, the similitude of any figure, the likeness of male or female,
Go ahead.
the likeness of any beast that is on the earth, the likeness of any winged fowl that flieth in the air,
Right, which I just explained. Go ahead.
the likeness of anything that creepeth on the ground, the likeness of any fish that is in the waters beneath the earth.
Go ahead.
Unless thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven.
Unless you do what?
Lift up thine eyes unto heaven.
Right, watch yourselves, lest you start looking up into the sky and do what?
And when thou seest the sun,
And when you see what?
the sun,
The sun, go ahead.
and the moon,
And the moon, go ahead.
and the stars,
And the stars,
even all the hosts of heaven.
Right, so when you start, he said the sun, the moon, the star. You see planets in there? Nope. He said, and if you see any of the armies of heaven, the hosts of heaven, it's talking about the armies, the angels travel through there. That's when you see a so-called shooting star. Those are the angels travel in the chariots. So if you see any of the armies of heaven, any of the hosts of heaven traveling through space, you might be like, oh yeah, I'm going to worship that. He said, don't do that. Y'all see that? But see, the other nations, remember, they didn't get this commandment. Where are we reading at? We're in Deuteronomy, right?
Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 19.
Now, who's he talking about? Go to Deuteronomy 1, verse 1. Hold where you're at. Give me Deuteronomy 1, verse 1. Let's see who he's talking to.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 1, verse 1. These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel.
To every nation?
All Israel.
He only spoke this to all Israel, so the other nations didn't get this message. So when they looked up in the sky and they saw the hosts of heaven, when they saw the sun, the moon, the stars, right? They started worshiping them as gods. Y'all get that? That's why you're dealing with Christmas. You was dealing with Christmas in the world because they was celebrating Mithras, the sun god. And they was worshiping the sun because its brightness and its heat. But it ain't nothing but one of the hosts of heaven. It ain't nothing but one of the celestial bodies. They were supposed to just leave that alone and recognize it for what it is. It's a tool of the Most High to keep us warm and lit. That's it. See that? That's why the Most High had to warn us. Now, why did he have to warn us not to worship these things? Who could tell me?
So we didn't fall into like the other nations.
Exactly. To put a difference between Israel and the Egyptians. To put a difference between us and the nations who was looking up in the sky, not understanding what was going on, and saying, okay, we're going to worship that. That's why Abraham had to come through. When he came through to Egypt, he started teaching them, listen, stop worshiping those things. Those things aren't gods. That's the sun. That's not a god. That's the moon, bro. Y'all see that? Where we at?
That was Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 1, first precept.
Oh, go back to 14.
Come.
So these are the words he spoke to all Israel. And he told them, watch out that you don't end up worshiping the sun, the moon, the stars, or the hosts of heaven, the armies of heaven. Go ahead.
Come. We left off at verse 19. Continue on. Book of Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 19. Unless thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun, and the moon, and the stars, even all the hosts of heaven, shouldest be driven to worship them, and serve them, which the Most High thy power hath divided unto all nations under the whole. But the Most High hath
under the whole heaven, right? So he gave all those things to the whole earth. But some of the nations he's telling you is going to worship them. You're not supposed to be worshiping them. Y'all see that? Now, when the other nations decided to start worshiping, that's what we're going to get into. But let's go from there. Go to Jeremiah 10, verse 1 and 2. Because it's another warning that he wanted us to stay away from. He wanted us to stay away from looking up at the moon and the stars and the hosts of heaven and worshiping them. Read that Jeremiah 10, verse 1 real quick.
Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 1. Hear ye the word which the Most High speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Most High, learn not the way of the heathen.
Don't learn the way of who?
Of the heathen.
Who knows what the word heathen means?
Other nations.
Other nations? What other nations?
The Gentiles.
What does Gentiles mean? Gentiles and heathens mean the same thing. Any nation that is not Israel. When you look that up in your Zondervan Pictorial Bible Dictionary, that's what it's going to say. Gentiles or heathens is any nation that is not Israel. So he said, learn not the way of any nation that is not Israel. Read.
And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven.
Right.
For the heathen.
See, don't be dismayed at the signs of heaven. Remember the signs of heaven as he read in Ecclesiastes 43?
Yeah, 43.
Right. That those are the sun, the moon, the stars. Those are the signs of heaven. Y'all see that? Anything you see going up in the sky, going on in the sky, if you see the moon turn blood red, you ain't supposed to fall down on your knees and act like it's Armageddon. Y'all see that? If you see a no moon, you ain't supposed to start worshiping the fact that there's no moon. If you see a full moon, you ain't supposed to worship that there's a full moon. Y'all get that? You are not to worship any of the signs of heaven. That's what the heathen do. So now we're understanding where we got this concept of planets from. The heathen started worshiping the signs of heaven. How do we know? Because the Most High was warning us, don't do what the heathen do. This is one of the things they do. They worship the signs of heaven. They worship the hosts of heaven. Go ahead. Verse 2.
For the heathen are dismayed at them. That's the last precept of verse 2.
Alright, go from there. We're going to find out the only time you find the word planets in the scriptures. Go to 2 Kings chapter 23 and verse 5. Because again, let's go through it. What are the names of our planets?
Mars.
Who's Mars? Who can tell me? This is real. This is real quiz trivia right here. Who's Mars?
Some Greek god.
Right, okay. Mars is the Roman god of war. Okay. His name is in the Greek culture, his name would be Ares. I'm not flipping him around, is it? Yeah. In Greek he's Ares, and in Rome he became Mars. Y'all see that?
In America, you became a chocolate bar?
Yeah, you got the Mars bar.
That was my list.
That was a joke.
Put up bumps.
Right.
Alright, what's the other planets we got? We got Mars. Venus. Alright? The Greek goddess from Astarte. Alright, she's the biggest star right next to the moon. The one that you're worshiping when you're in Islam. What's the Islam flag? They got the moon with that star right in there, right? That's Venus. You're worshiping Astarte, Ishtar, Semiramis, Nimrod's wife. Alright? Where you get Easter from. That's who's sitting on that Islam flag, and that's who you're worshiping when you saying, oh, I'm gonna look and mess with this planet, this so-called planet up here. That's a big bright star that they decided to name after their goddess of fertility and the underworld. She was the prostitute of the gods, meaning all the gods used to run trains on Venus. And that's what you're saying, I'm ruled by Venus. When you get into all that astrology and all that nonsense.
Venus is my moon sign.
Right.
Wow.
So you a hoe?
Yeah, you a straight up hoe. You confessing it to the world. But see, this is how they play the game with you, because they don't tell you the words or spells, man.
Come on.
You're putting spells out there onto yourself by saying certain things. That's why the Most High said, don't let the name of any strange gods come out of your mouth. Because you're calling on them. You understand? You're calling on them. So what do they got your kids doing? My very educated mother just served us 9 pizzas. What's that? Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Just named all kinds of strange gods you and your forefathers have not known. Your kids are under the curses of Deuteronomy 28 just by learning that crap. And you have not seen one verifiable picture of any one of them planets. Not one. Think about it. Think if you ever saw an actual picture, or if you got a CGI image. Don't the images you see in those textbooks look exactly like they do when you watch Star Trek?
Yeah.
That's the exact same thing. Even Star Trek is more thorough, man. They at least put the stars around them, put the asteroid belts, put all the little satellites and all that. When you get them textbooks, it'd be Venus floating out in nothing but blackness. No satellites, no moons, no sun, no nothing. Just a big blue ball with a bunch of clouds, and they say, oh, that's Venus. Well, where's all the satellites? Where's all the moons? Where's anything? Damn. You just got a blue ball with blackness, man. How do I know that's Venus? You don't. And why is it coincidentally named after your God? Well, let's check it out. Read that 2 Kings.
You said 22?
Let me get 23. 2 Kings
23 and 5.
There you go. God. 2 Kings chapter 23, verse 5. And he put down the idolatrous priests.
So you got one of the righteous kings that stood up and he put down the idolatrous priests, the ones that was telling the people to worship other gods. He put them down. Go ahead.
Whom the kings of Judah had ordained to burn incense in the high places in the city of Judah, and in the places around Jerusalem. Them also that burn incense unto Baal.
Now y'all know who Baal is, right? It's another nation's god. Alright, he's known as if you know Baal Peor, if you heard of him, he's the Lord of the opening. He's where the strip clubs come from. You ever wonder why the women gotta dance on a pole? Why you throwing money at a girl that has to dance on a pole? Because the image of Baal is a phallus, a penis. And so she's dancing on that, and you throw money at her. She's a female temple prostitute, and that's how she fulfills her obligation to the god Baal Peor, the Lord of the opening. Y'all see that? When you going down on a woman, you worshiping Baal Peor, the Lord of the opening. All right, if you're talking about doing any kind of anal or anything like that, you worshiping this same God. That's how insidious the nations were with having you worship their other gods. They make it now like it's romantic, right? Janae Aiko over there, eat like groceries. Oh. You made that sound hot for a second. But guess what? I'm worshiping Baal Peor if I do that. Y'all see that? What's the other one talking about? Eat the kitty like lunch? Who's that? Every other rapper, Cardi B, Nicki, all of them, right?
Yeah. Which one you want?
They all talking about that. What are they trying to do? They trying to get you to worship Baal Peor on the low. Y'all see that?
Well, I thought the bedroom was undefiled.
Yeah, that's another lie they tell you, right?
That's what makes it defiled.
It said marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled. He's giving you instructions.
Yeah.
Your marriage is honorable as long as you don't defile the bed. How do you defile the bed? You start worshiping Baal Peor in your bed.
Yeah.
You see that? How do you defile the bed? You start going anal on your woman. That's defiled. You start going down on her period. That's defiled. Your marriage is honorable, yes, as long as you don't defile it in those ways. You see that? But they want to read you the scripture the wrong way and be like, "Oh yeah, marriage is honorable, and the bed undefiled."
Oh, there's a comma there.
Like, yeah, he said, "And the bed undefiled," meaning marriage is honorable coupled with an undefiled bed.
Yeah.
Y'all see that? Cats don't understand Paul, that he's a lawyer, he's a Pharisee. You got to be on that level. You got to at least, you can't come out of high school. I dropped out of high school. I was a Negro light on the streets, or I was somewhat conscious, and then I came into being a Hebrew Israelite. I found the Strong's Concordance, and now I'm a scholar. Nah, bro, you got to put in work.
You got to know how to read, and you got to have reading comprehension.
Yeah.
A lot of brothers have dropped out too early, and their reading comprehension ain't up. Simple grammar.
Yeah. they barely get the simplicity that is Christ, much less you're reading a book that was gathered together in the 1600s. Now, we talk about the time of Shakespeare. If you can't understand what you're reading in the Shakespeare book, and let me ask you this, don't they even have classes where you got to learn to comprehend the Shakespeare books?
Yeah. It's called like something like advanced literature.
Yeah, you got British literature, you had advanced literature, reading comprehension, right? Because if you're reading Shakespeare and you're reading Romeo and Juliet and what's his name comes out and he bites his thumb at this guy, you're gonna be like, oh, is he gay? No, biting your thumb was the same as flipping somebody off, but you gotta know that. You see that? You gotta know what's going on right there. That he wasn't gesturing to him like, yeah, I got you. You know what I mean? He's like basically like, yeah.
I want you on the knee.
See that? Now you got these same people in that time were the ones translating the scriptures. So this is the same kind of language you would read in Shakespeare. Identical. Alright? So if I'm looking in this book, I can't come to it with a third grade reading level. You know what I mean? You got brothers that just barely learn how to read and they like John 3:16 for God. So, and then all of a sudden they want to tell you, yeah, that means marriage is honorable, the bed undefiled. That means you can do whatever you want in the bedroom. I think you ain't past the third grade. Paul wasn't telling you after all the times the Most High said don't worship Baal Peor. Paul wasn't going to come and tell you, yeah, go ahead and defile your bedroom by worshiping Baal Peor. You understand? Yeah, we know that scripture well because there's brothers actually trying to use that in certain camps, and you can do anal and you can do whatever because whatever happens in your bedroom is private. Well, then why would the Most High tell you specifically you can't eat blood? Why would he tell you that if everything's okay to do in the bedroom? Think about that.
Or even don't lay with don't be around your woman when she's on her menstrual.
Or there shall be no sodomite of the children of Israel, or no whore of the children of Israel. Well, how you know she's a hoe? She's just in the bedroom. Everything's cool. Once you get in the bedroom, you do whatever you want. Right? Oh, that ain't your husband, lady. It's okay. We in the bedroom.
See how that makes sense?
Is that how it goes?
Right.
But you got ISUPK. They teach it's okay to have anal sex with your wife. You teach you that.
You
They use that
can go
scripture.
down on her. You can mess with her on her period.
Yeah, but they teach you. They use these scriptures, but they were nobody. Listen, brothers was not taught that way back in the day. They changed that.
I don't know.
They changed that. Brothers wasn't taught that.
If you ever got a default, man, just default to this. Would Abraham do it?
Right?
Would a righteous man do that? Would a king do that? You ever watch a movie and the king came out the bedroom and he just had blood dripping all down his beard? Girl came out tired? You didn't see that. Why? Because kings got standards. Y'all see that? I don't care if it was the king of the other nations. You didn't see that going on. Y'all get that? What did kings get? Kings always got the best served to them, right? If it was a woman, she was the finest woman you could find. She was a virgin, untouched, right? And if it was food, it was the best food found throughout the land. It wasn't until you get to American society in the West where you was just doing whatever. You was just garbage. It wasn't until we went through slavery that we didn't have standards. We used to have standards even in slavery. They had to bust our teeth out to make us eat that lard mixed with cornmeal and slop that they would give us. They used to have to bust brothers' teeth out with a hammer and put a funnel in their mouth and cork their butt so they wouldn't even poop it out. But you got brothers talking about, oh, everything's lawful now. Like, really? Our brothers was dying on them slave ships, getting their teeth busted out, having to swallow pints of their own blood at gunpoint, trying to deny eating that food. And you sit there and be like, oh, it's lawful now. You looking for a loophole to eat it. Tell me that ain't Stockholm Syndrome. Brothers was dying. You read the book of 2 Maccabees 7. Brothers was pulling their own guts out and throwing them at the enemy so they wouldn't have to eat pork. Now our people like, you see, it says as long as you pray over it, it's okay. Like, damn, nigga, how come even the slaves, the uneducated slaves on the boat knew not to eat that? But you think it's okay. That's how they get us, man. And this is one of those subtleties right here, the planets, the stars, all that stuff is the subtle way the nations got us to worship other gods, man. Putting it on your shoes, Nike. Nike's the Greek goddess of victory, man. That's what it means. But it's right there on your shoes. And they won't tell you. Y'all see that? Mazda. You're driving a Mazda. That's Ahura Mazda. That's Astarte, the goddess. But she's just in Ahura Mazda's in Japan. You worshiping other gods, Toyota, all that. You worshiping all these other gods, man. Columbia, right? Having to do with Columba, the dove, but not the dove of the Holy Spirit. The dove that represented Semiramis. All this stuff go back to Nimrod and Semiramis, bro. But they got you now subtly on the low worshiping that. You go to the Catholic Church, you wearing that fish hat, same one Nimrod wore. Worshiping Dagon, the Babylonian god. Y'all see this? It's subtle now, though, that. Because the Pope don't come out telling you, hey, this is Dagon. If y'all don't worship Dagon, y'all might want to leave. Nah, he put it right there and then hold up a cross and you think you're a Christian. You think you're following Christ. Where we at, man?
Where?
What's that?
I just have a quick question, just for the record's sake. It's not, or is it okay for, as a man, if you have a wife, to have her go down on you? Is that under your discretion?
Look up sodomy. Look up the word sodomy real quick.
I mean, it was just a question that came up.
Yeah, I'm answering it.
I know what sodomy means. Any oral or anal sexual act.
There you go. Anal or oral copulation.
Yeah.
So if you're copulating with your woman, having her go down on you, then yeah, that's sodomy.
Come. I mean, it was a question that came up.
No, I ain't trying to put you on blast or laugh at you with a brother.
No, it's just the way his look was like,
yeah. And that's a big letdown for some brothers and everything like that. But
it's cool.
What was the first commandment? Be fruitful and multiply.
That's it.
Is she eating your babies being fruitful?
Lie.
no.
Can you have babies that way?
Lie.
Then that ain't what it's meant for. It's simple as that, man. It wasn't until you get to the West, till you get to the European society, till you get to the Hamite society, that you start dealing with sex as pure pleasure. I need it, gotta have it, can't do without it.
Yeah, so it's recreation.
Yeah.
Recreation.
For us, sex was a tool, man. It was between having your rib in order, your kids in order, your household in order, your business, worshiping the Most High. At night, you had a little pleasure that came with sleep. You made some babies. You woke up, you washed yourself, you were unclean till evening. You went back to work. You went back to praising the Most High. You went back to doing your priorities. You understand? It was a pleasure that you had on your free time. But only in America, Don King, right? Only in America is it a damn recreational sport that you have to do in order to even be with a woman. Right? In order for her to even say she like you, you have to have given her a good 12 hours in the sack. Yeah. Like, where the hell you get 12 hours from? Chick, go to work. Don't you got a job? 12 hours? Come on, man. Only in America are you solely focused on what's between the other person's legs, other than what's in their mind.
Between their ears.
You understand? You gotta think, anatomically, that's the worst place to put your mouth anyway. That's where your waste comes out. It's either waste or blood. And yes, semen is a type of blood. Did y'all know that? Right. The Most High was thorough when he said, listen, don't eat the meat with the blood. The blood is the life. Think about that. The blood that flows through your veins ain't just the only thing that has life in it. That blood that comes out of your penis, that has life in it. That's how you create life, right? So that's what he's talking about. Don't eat that. You don't put that in your mouth.
Right.
Y'all see that?
You hear that, Jermaine?
We ain't calling Brother Zach.
I'm not saying that he did. I'm just making a joke. Like, you hear him. Not like that. Not like that.
Y'all gotta be clear, man.
Yeah.
But listen, y'all gotta know this because, again, there are people that they're meant to defile your spirit by trying to push some subtlety to you. And Satan will do it himself. He'll know scriptures and be like, yeah, marriage is honorable, the bed undefiled. And if you ain't, remember the scriptures say, a man of eloquent words is known far and wide, but a wise man will catch him when he slips. Hey, but what about the comma? What about it says, and the bed undefiled? Y'all see that? Yeah, it's honorable, but it gotta have the bed undefiled with it. That's what the word and means. Y'all get that? Marriage is honorable plus the bed being undefiled. If I'm defiling my bed, my marriage is not honorable in the eyes of the Most High. If I'm doing anal on my woman, my marriage is not honorable in the eyes of the Most High. Why do you think Sodom and Gomorrah got destroyed if everything's okay in the bedroom? You think they was only doing it in the streets? They was in bedrooms too. Y'all see that?
That's another lesson right there.
Yeah. But see, that's what these brothers ain't understanding because they don't want to understand. These cats want to be, they want to keep doing the defiled things America raised them on. And they don't want to depart from them. That's how you know it got a demon attached to it. We could go into that in a whole other class. But going in that kundalini, that anal cavity, got a whole demon attached to that. You understand? Going in, like I told y'all about Baal Peor, the Lord of the opening. You're actually trying to conjure forth these demons when you do those things. And that's what these nations are trying to get you to do. They've been trying to do that since Numbers chapter 24 with Balaam. They've been trying to get you to subtly worship other gods. Y'all see that? What's that?
I was gonna ask. So like how they say in I think it's Matthew's, how you'll know the end times by them being the same as in Noah days.
Yep.
So that's in the days of Noah where they were eating and drinking.
Yeah.
It's Matthew 24, I think.
Yeah, I think it's Matthew 24. So those are the things that they were doing, like the stuff that they're doing now, like the homosexuality, everything, like Sodom and Gomorrah, all of that, right?
What has already been.
Has already been
Nothing
done.
new under the sun.
Right. Even with like the gene splicing and all of that, everything that they're trying to do and doing now, that was already done.
The Most High had already been outlawing that. You wouldn't have to outlaw it
right.
if it wasn't being done already. When he said, listen, don't let your cattle gender with diverse kind. Don't mingle your seed. Right? That's what they were doing. That's what they was trying to do. Hey, let me mix this salmon with a pork chop. Like, why? Why would you need to do that? Well, I want a salmon that's able to eat anything, and then I can eat it. Why would you want to do that? Just because I can do it.
Right.
Those are the things that were going on in Egypt. So as soon as we left Egypt, what did he have to do? You can't do that.
Right.
Plus the Canaanites were doing it too.
Yeah.
So he was letting us know, don't do what they did in Egypt, and don't do what Canaan was doing, because they were doing some defiled stuff too.
So my question was, when he wiped everybody out, and Noah was the only one, Noah and his family, even though there was other people that was of that same bloodline, but they he still wiped them out too, but he only kept Noah?
He only kept Noah.
And his family?
Yeah.
Was it because everybody else was defiled in one way or another?
Yeah, when you read Genesis chapter 6, it says, all the imaginations of their heart was wicked continually. That means they woke up, anal sex, let me smoke something, let me go worship some other god, let me go do anything I can find to defile myself, and when they went to sleep, they was in the midst of doing it. That was sun up to sundown all day, every day. Where are you at now? Full circle. He wiped us out with the flood. We did it all again. We started all the wickedness back again, and now we're in America doing what? Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die.
Same thing.
Same things, man. You got tranny children, little 4-year-olds want 4-year-old boys want to be girls, and then go have sex with their teachers. That's the nation you're in right now, and the teachers ain't turning it down. The grown-ups that are supposed to be leading, they're not turning these kids down. They sleeping with them. They sleeping with the little boy girls and all this stuff like that. There's no shame here. So everything's come back full circle, man. But it's all in worship. That's why the Most High wiped it out, because that was conjuring demons, man. And that in that spiritual realm, that's how them demons get into people, is you bring them forth. All that demon possession stuff you see in the movies, it only happens if you bring them to you, if you allow them. They even drop that in the movies when they show a demon-possessed person. That person allowed that into them.
They gotta invite them.
One way or another, they allowed that into them. When you watch Paranormal Activity, that demon didn't come in the house until when? Until the man gave up his authority. So he was like, yeah, baby, yeah, we'll do the Ouija board. As soon as he gave up his authority, that demon ran rampant through the whole house. It wasn't just, remember, it was always following the woman. Y'all remember that?
Hold on, which movie are you talking about?
Paranormal Activity.
Oh, come.
It was always following the woman, but it didn't get in the house until when? She was always living in the house. Why wouldn't the demon come in? Because the man had to step aside. You can't enter into the strong man's house till you bind the strong man. Christ gave you the recipe. The nations know this. They know. That's why they get the man out the house. Food stamp program, welfare program. Get him out the house so we can demon possess that whole house. So the Most High won't enter into that house. We got to bind the strong man. Y'all see that? And they started with you as children, man. My very educated mother just served us 9 pizzas. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Venus. Pluto, right? They get you worshiping them other gods at a young age, man. And you conjuring all that right into your household. Then you get up older and you want to start smoking weed and burning incense to these other gods. And you just got nothing but demons in your house. Then you try to figure out, why my woman so rebellious? Because rebellion is as a sin of witchcraft, and you've been a witch since you were a child. Since you was blowing out the candles on the birthday cake. Like the class the brother dropped. That birthday class. That was all ushering you into witchcraft, man. All of it. And you think it's far-fetched till you play with it. Play with that weed demon. Watch when that death spirit come around. We had a sister doing that, and we had a brother and a sister doing that on the low. Brother ended up dead. Sister ended up getting bit by a brown recluse spider in her stomach. If you know what a brown recluse spider does, they bite you and all the flesh around the bite dies. And they barely caught her in the hospital, but she was on her way to repentance, trying to get back. And that's why the Most High just gave her that warning. But that brings a death spirit, man. Y'all understand? But they don't want you to know that. That's why they just say, oh, legalize it. Let's get this over, man. Read that. Read the rest of that 2 Kings, man.
2 Kings chapter 23, verse, I'll start back at 5.
Yeah.
5. And he put down the idolatrous priests, whom the kings of Judah had ordained to burn incense in the high places in the cities of Judah.
So this is the only scripture you're going to see the word planets in the whole Bible. And Apocrypha. Go ahead.
And in the places around Jerusalem, them also that burn incense unto Baal.
So remember Baal, that's one god that we were burning incense to. Go ahead.
To the sun.
To the sun. Go ahead.
And to the moon. And to the planets.
And to the what?
And to the planets.
See, this is the only time you're going to see the word planets in the scriptures. And what is it in reference to? The other nations worshiping their gods. Y'all see that? And us taking on the heathen customs of worshiping heathen gods. It's the only time you're going to see the word planets in there. And it's not saying that there are planets. It's saying they were worshiping these things and naming planets, saying there's planets. Y'all get that? And again, remember, the planets have never been named historically or otherwise. They have never been named after anything Hebrew. Did you ever get that? Like when you go to school, they said, "Oh, Mars," but it was known by the Hebrews as so and so. No. It was known in ancient Judah or Jerusalem as this planet. Nah, because we didn't mess with planets. We knew they was just stars up there. Y'all see that? Go ahead.
And to all the hosts of heaven.
There it is, to the armies of heaven. So they would see our angels. And you see how the angels come down and they say that they had one had the face of a calf, the other had the face of a lion, right? And they had the body of a man, or he had this, right? How the angels appear?
Yeah.
In Ezekiel, right? Now when you go to ancient Egypt, what do you see as their gods? Be this man's body with a dog head, a falcon head, a this head. They would see in our angels when they would come down and they would worship them as gods. Y'all see that? Yeah, read into it. Go into your histories, go into your mythology studies and everything like that, and you're going to see all this was angel worship. Gabriel the archangel, he came down. He was the messenger angel, right? What do you get in Greek and Roman mythology? You get Mercury or Hermes, the messenger angel, and he got wings on his boots. What do you have now? You got the Flash, and he got wings on his boots. And he got wings on his helmet. Captain America got the little wings on his helmet. What the hell does that got to do with anything? Why does Captain America got wings on his boots and helmet? Why does the Flash got wings on his boots and helmet? The Flash got hit by lightning and doused in chemicals. There's nothing about his origin story got anything to do with wings. Did y'all know that? But that's them pushing their gods to you still. So when you see Hermes and Mercury in their little statues, you're like, oh, that's the Flash, that's my guy. No, it's not. That's a damn demon that they saw. That's them worshiping angels that they saw. Y'all see that? Which is why Paul warned you against the involuntary worship of angels. See, it's involuntary now. Now you just learning Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, you learning planets, right? It's involuntary worship now. See that? You're still breaking the law. You're still letting the name of strange gods be uttered out of your mouth. On the low. Y'all see that? Don't worry. Acts 17:30 says the time of his ignorance, the Most High winked at. Now he command all men everywhere to repent. Where you at?
We're at 2 Kings 23, verse 6.
So that's where you get this notion of planets. You don't get it nowhere else in the scriptures until you get into the New Testament. Now let's see. Let's go to Acts chapter 17, verse 22. So we got some of the names of the planets, right? You said Mars first off. Beautiful. Go to Acts.
Book of Acts.
Let's see where we read about Mars.
Chapter 17, verse 22.
Go ahead.
Then Paul stood in the midst of Mars.
Of what?
Then Paul stood in the midst of Mars Hill.
Right, Mars Hill. That apostrophes there showing ownership. So that hill is dedicated to who? Mars, the Roman god of war. Y'all see that? It didn't mean he was standing on the planet Mars, did it?
No.
Nah, right?
It wasn't total recall.
Right.
What scripture is that?
Acts 17 and 22. It said, then Paul stood in the midst of Mars Hill. And what was the problem on Mars Hill? Read on.
And said, ye men of Athens.
You Greeks. You men of Athens. You Israelites that live in Greece. Go ahead.
I perceive that in all things ye are too superstitious.
What was the men of Athens' problem? What was these Israelites' problem?
Too superstitious.
What was going on Mars Hill?
Too
It
superstitious.
was too superstitious, man. You was believing in all kinds of fairy tales. Go ahead.
For as I passed by and beheld your divination,
Your devotion.
devotions, I found an altar with this inscription, to the unknown God.
See that? To the unknown God. So they was worshiping every damn thing. And then if they didn't know what God it was, if they weren't educated to know that, hey, this is the God of the Hebrews, they said, this is the unknown God. Because see, even the Greeks knew that there was a God that they didn't know. There was a God of all the gods. Y'all see that? Even the Greeks knew that. Even when you go into their mythology, they knew there was an unknown God. And that's what they dedicated the statue to. But here's the problem. Where do you read about Mars in the scriptures? You read about it as one of the gods that they worshipped. Y'all see that?
What did you say the god of war was? Ares?
Yeah, Ares in Greek mythology.
Yes. When you translate Mars Hill, it's Areopagus, which is Ares rock.
Right, because remember the Greeks were in power before the Romans. The Romans took over, so they just changed the names to make things better for them. So they would worship the Greek gods, but change the names. So you went from Ares to Mars now. Y'all see that? Go ahead.
Last precept, verse 23.
Uh-huh.
Whom therefore ye ignorantly worship.
See, they was ignorantly worshiping the unknown God, these unknown gods. Y'all see this? Same as us today, man. We ignorantly worship Nike. We ignorantly worship Mazda. We ignorantly worship Pluto and Saturn. We ignorantly do that. How? By letting those names come out of our mouth, man. Y'all understand? You understand?
Yeah, I was wondering, do you have, this is kind of like a sidebar, but I think it fits with this. Do you know the name of like the god or what god is attached to Adidas?
What god is attached to Adidas?
Yeah. Or is there?
No, it does. I haven't looked it up for a while, man.
Because I was just thinking with the current situation with like Kanye West, you got these crazy Adidas line or Adidas shoes and sneakers, and then he's coming out with this album, Jesus Is My King, and just just a lot of.
Yeah, once you get into the movie industry, you're pretty much sold out to every god under the heavens. Let me see what that is. Let me see real quick. I'll look this up. Adidas Origins, Adidas Originals. Adidas Wikipedia. Adidas was founded by Adolf A.D. Dassler, who made the sports shoe. That's right.
Adolf Dassler.
Yeah.
Adi Dassler.
Yeah, he didn't have nothing to do with no gods and nothing like that.
Yeah, it was all day. All day I dream about soccer. Is the Adidas? That's where you get Adidas. All day I dream about soccer. It was a soccer shoe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm sure once you go into some of the symbolism or the whatever the icon is of it,
Yeah, it's
I'm sure you got
flower, some type of flower.
Yeah, it looked like a wheat plant a little bit. But.
Yeah, like a wheat plant or something. Now it's like 3 stripes, but before it was three stripes and looked like some type of plant. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a picture from 1972 right here. But yeah, once you get into the symbolism that's on them, they still got you doing it. But let's go from there. Go to Acts chapter 14, verse 11. So we're gonna get a couple more planet names, a couple more planetary names, and see what they're associated with in the scriptures. Go to Acts chapter 14, verse 11.
Book of Acts, chapter 14, verse 11. And when the people saw what Paul had done, they lifted up their voices, saying in the speech of Lycaonia, the gods are come down to us in the likeness of men.
So when Paul and them was preaching, they weren't even, at this point, I don't think they was even laying hands on people yet. Just the preaching was hitting the people so hard, they said the gods are among us. Notice they used the plural, gods. So what was going on in Lycaonia? They was into worshiping other gods. Y'all see that? Now what did they name? What names did they give their gods? Go ahead.
And they called Barnabas Jupiter.
They called him what?
Jupiter.
What was the name of their gods?
Jupiter.
Okay.
And Paul, Mercurius.
Yeah, Mercurius. Mercury. Y'all see this? They don't know gods from a damn star or a person. But we let them educate our children. This was just Paul, man. Paul that got beaten, stoned, and had to get knocked off his donkey and blinded in order to serve Yahushua. He was a man. Barnabas, these were men. Remember, and these were base men. Remember, Christ said he chose the base things of the world to confound the wise.
That's right.
Right? So these were base men. These were some of the most uneducated you could find. Outside of Paul. Paul was educated, right? But they took these men and said, this is Jupiter. This is Mercury. Go ahead.
God.
And why did they do it? It said because he was a chief speaker.
God.
Mercury, the messenger god.
Yep.
Yeah.
Y'all see this?
God, that's the last precept.
No, they say that like Mercury is when I used to look into this silly stuff, it's like the Mercury is like the planet of communication. So it's interesting that they call him the chief speaker.
Right.
Supposedly that's the
communicate well.
Like I told you, the scriptures interpret themselves, man. You don't even got to look up what's Mercury. Mercury's the messenger. How do you know? Because he's the chief speaker. That's why they called him Mercury, because he could speak well. Y'all see that? But this isn't Hebrew. This was a Hebrew custom. This was Greek custom put on Hebrews. Huh? Read on.
Verse 13. Then the priest of Jupiter.
The what?
The priest of Jupiter. Which was before their city.
Now, this ain't a priest that came from the planet Jupiter. Alright? There ain't no planet Jupiter. This is a priest dedicated to the god, the Greek god Jupiter. Y'all see that? And what did he do?
Which was before their city, brought oxen and garlands unto the gates, and would have done sacrifice with the people.
He was going to sacrifice and do all this obeisance to two men that could speak well. They didn't even do a miracle yet. He didn't bring nobody back from the dead. Nobody broke their neck and fallen out a window and he brought them back to life. He didn't part no waters, nothing. All he did was speak well, and these niggas was ready to sacrifice goats and oxen to him and call them gods. So these are the people we trust with saying that there's planets, with educating us and telling us there's stuff that you don't read in the scriptures, telling us the sun is 93 million miles away. People that don't know God's from a damn person. Yeah, think about this, man. Where we at? We finished that?
That was the last precept, 13.
All right, so this is where you get these ideas from. Now we're gonna go to Josephus. All right, we're gonna see we're understanding now where we get these ideas, right? Oh yeah. Sorry, down here.
This is the Josephus, book 1, chapter 5.
Right. So back in the day, in the time of 2 Kings, the Judites, the Israelites, had got these ideas of worshiping planets from the other nations. All right. When you get to the New Testament, we find out we got a lot of these notions of the names of these planets, these so-called planets. We got that from the Greeks. And here we're going to read in the Josephus, again, verification that we got a lot of these notions. A lot of the things that you name things today come from the Greek culture. All right.
So it says, after what manner the posterity of Noah sent out colonies and inhabited the whole earth. But jump down, it says, and they were the Greeks who became.
They were the who?
The Greeks who became the authors of such mutations.
See, it was the Greeks who wrote all these mutations, who changed everything. That's what a mutation is. So the Greeks came along, right? And because now, if I'm stupid as hell, just came out of a cave, but I want the whole world to worship me, what do I gotta do? Who can tell me?
Boast.
I gotta boast, man. I gotta act like I'm the original.
Gotta be the guy.
Yeah. Just like niggas that don't really have street cred, what do? Tattoo some teardrops on their face and act like they've been in jail? Right? You look up their record, they ain't got one?
I had a long conversation with a bro in the mall about that like 2 weeks ago.
Like, damn,
Real talk.
You was a hallway monitor in middle school. How the hell?
He's part of the Explorer program.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was after school chess club in high school, man. Come on. Now all of a sudden you got teardrops on your face? Where your record at? How come I look you up, you ain't got a record? Because you just had some nigga tattoo that on your face?
Style.
Right. Because you wanted some street cred. You wanted to look like something you're not in order for people to look up to you. And that's what Esau did, man. They came out of them caves. They still, at this point, hadn't even learned how to bathe. They didn't learn that until about the year 1325 AD. We hadn't taught them how to bathe yet. Understand this. They would still run around with lice and trying to shave off all their body hair in order to get rid of the lice. That's where you get to with the Greeks and the Romans. Shaving off all their body hair just to get rid of lice. Instead of taking baths. Still sleeping with animals. Still sleeping with their mothers. Still sleeping with their fathers. Alright? This is supposed to be the beginning of civilization. The birth of civilization. The Greeks. He said it's the Greeks that authored these mutations. They started changing everything. Changing history. That's why when you try to figure out, well, damn, Abraham, he must have just been this wandering migrant worker. That's how they portray him in the movies. He's just some guy in some sandals traveling through the desert looking thirsty as hell, right?
Yeah.
But they don't tell you Abraham was a king. He was from Mesopotamia. And where do you get the word Mesopotamia from? The Greeks. What was it known as before that? See, Mesopotamia doesn't give credit to Hebrews. But Aram, which is the land it was called before Mesopotamia, that tells you who it came from, because Aram was Abraham's great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather. So everything that belonged to Mesopotamia and any king of Mesopotamia, it went down to Abraham. So Abraham wasn't just some dirty little dust farmer running through the desert. Abraham was descendant of a king, the king of the greatest civilization on earth. But what they do? The Greeks came along. Oh, the greatest civilization on earth is not Aram, because that would give credit to the Hebrews.
The Egyptians.
We're gonna call it Mesopotamia.
Mesopotamia, yeah.
Y'all see that? That's why when you look up Mesopotamia, it don't really have nothing to do with Hebrews. But if you looked it up as Aram, you would know it belongs to the Hebrews and was named after Hebrews. See this? So the Greeks were the fathers of these mutations. They're the ones that started authoring and rewriting history. Go ahead.
For when, in after ages, they grew potent,
See, after they came into power, go ahead.
they claimed to themselves the glory of antiquity.
They start in 333 BC when the Greeks started coming into real power. After they had taken over the original Japhetic peoples that lived in Greece, the dark-skinned Japhetic people, when these Edomites came and took them over, they started coming into power, and they did what? Read it
They
again.
claimed to themselves the glory of antiquity.
They claimed every old thing as theirs. That's why when you find out, well, who's the father of modern mathematics? Oh, that's Pythagoras. Wait, Pythagoras? But that's only 333 on. 333 BC upward. You telling me nobody was doing math before that? What about the pyramids in Egypt? Built at that perfect 58.7 degree angle. How they get that if Pythagoras wasn't around? They give Pythagoras the credit for being able to dissect the triangle and give you the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared, and that's how you find out the hypotenuse of a triangle. Okay, but hold on. That's just a 2D triangle. The pyramids is 3D triangles. Three-dimensional. And they're bisected perfectly. And they're angled perfectly and aligned with the stars. You telling me Pythagoras did that before he was born? Nah, but the Greeks are telling you that Pythagoras is the father of mathematics. Even though even Nikola Tesla was like, Pythagoras was an idiot.
There's a lot of arguments.
Yeah, Nikola Tesla put them all to shame. He's like, yeah, prove that, nigga.
Yep.
And I'll put more stock in Nikola Tesla as we go on more into what we're talking about. But Nikola Tesla got all these niggas because he actually applied the science. Mm-hmm. There's a quote that says there's not one thing built, not one idea used that has anything to do with anything Einstein ever said or did. E equals MC squared. You ever use that in real life?
Nope.
Energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. How do you, first of all, you're saying that the chemical formula for energy is that you take mass, which is anything that has weight and takes up space, right, and you multiply it times the speed of light, which you can't find out what the speed of light is because the speed of light isn't an object. It's not like a car. You can judge how fast it goes. Light is an effect of some other energy being used. And Nikola Tesla and many other great scientists will tell you it's an effect of sound on a medium. Which means when the Most High said in Genesis, let there be lights, and there was light, that is the formula for how you make light. You use sound across a medium, which is darkness, and it creates light. So, now Nikola Tesla, when he proved these things, he actually was able to take a light bulb, stand in the middle of a damn room, and make the light go on by making some other thing field generate light across what is called the ether, which most of these scientists can't even explain to you. There's a whole other element known as the ether. It's another medium that light travels on. What I'm saying, medium, what I'm saying is like if I'm in a pool, right, and I start flapping my arms, I'm making waves, right? Now that's not my hand touching the seashore. That's a wave in effect from my hand, right? So I've generated this power and the waves hit the shore. Light is the same thing as that wave. It's an effect of some other force. Scientists don't know what that force is. All they can call it is the ether. Just like the power coming from my hand travels through the water, that's the medium. The wave created is the power from my hand. Okay, light travels through a medium called the ether, and it's an effect of somebody's hand, somebody's force. But they don't know who that force is. And anything they try to tell you is conjecture if it ain't talking about it's the Most High's voice. But Genesis right there told you, God said, let there be light, and there was light. Nikola Tesla will tell you, light is an effect of sound across a medium. So like after, well, Nikola Tesla was 1908. So you're talking almost 2,000 years before they figured out what it says in Genesis chapter 1. But these are the people we let educate our children. That's deep, right? It gets real deep when you get into that science, man. I was sitting up all night watching Nikola Tesla and his interviews and a lot of his inventions and things like that. And I was watching this other guy who was super intelligent, man. Big fat white boy with tattoos all over his body. And this dude was like, he was basically just quoting Nikola Tesla, you could tell. But he knew a lot. He knew what he was talking about. And when you get into it, it's like he's basically saying the same thing. All these scientists are idiots. When you win a Nobel Prize, it's a bunch of other idiots that think you're smarter than them, and so they give you a prize. But nothing they say has been proven. It's all theory. He went through the same thing like as if I was teaching class. He's like, everything they're saying here is about theory, hypothesis, educated guesses. None of it has been proven. But when Nikola Tesla said stuff, he actually proved it. He went and used it, made it happen. So you can't really refute that. If a nigga tell you, hey, this is how you make light out of nothing, and then he hold up a light bulb and it lights itself in his bare hands, you gotta be like, that guy knows how to make lights. That guy knows what happened at the beginning. Einstein, however, you can't use nothing he said. The only thing Einstein did was destroy everything. He helped with the formula that made the atomic bomb. He didn't even make the atomic bomb himself. It was a black man did that. Him and Robert Oppenheimer. And then Albert Einstein threw in his little 2 cents, and they blew up Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Blew up. Tesla brought us clean energy, free energy, cars that run on electricity. But we know about Einstein, but we don't really know about Tesla. Why? Because they try to bury him. They try to make sure you didn't know about Tesla because everything he was talking about was free. Like you can make a Tesla coil out of a battery and some copper coils, man. And I saw him make it out of a CD case, some copper coil, a piece of PVC pipe, a golf ball, and a piece of foil, man. Made a damn Tesla coil. He put the thing there, hit the switch on, then he grabbed the light bulb, he touched it to the coil, the light bulb lit up. I was like, damn. That was what ancient Egypt was. That was all going down in ancient Egypt, which we built. But they don't want to give you credit because why? The Greeks is too busy rewriting history. They said the Greeks did what?
It said they claimed to themselves and the glory of antiquity.
They took all the glory of antiquity. So when you're supposed to be reading about Samson, now you're reading about what? Hercules. When you're supposed to be reading about David, now you're reading about Hercules. Or you're reading about, or they try to inject some of that into what? Into the scriptures. And now when you got done reading about Hercules, the demigod that Zeus came down and impregnated some peacock when he was dressed as a bull. right? He came down and impregnated a peacock, dressed up as a bull, and then made a half god, half man named Hercules. And then they tried to mix that with what? Your Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shai. Tried to tell you that God came down and impregnated a woman that had a husband already and broke his own commandments and impregnated this woman, and now you got a demigod running around. So now you got a loophole. Now you can say, oh, okay, well, I can't be like Christ because he was half God, half man. But that's the insidiousness of it, man. That's the what they did on that movie Inception. Right? They put that little thing in your brain, man, and then when you grow up, that little leaven is leavened a whole lump. Go ahead.
Giving names to the giving names to the nations that sounded well in Greek.
See, they gave names to the nations that sounded well in Greek. So now you got Africa, which wasn't known as Africa before. Now you got like I told you, Mesopotamia, which was known as the land of Aram, where you get the language Aramaic from. Aramaic ain't nothing but Hebrew, because it was a language that Hebrew people spoke in the land of Aram. But you can't put them two together now because there ain't no land of Aram. It's Mesopotamia. And now it's known as Iraq. Y'all see this? Iraq was just a branch. You read about Iraq in the scriptures, E-R-E-C-H. That was just a branch of people that lived in the very southernmost part of Mesopotamia. Now that's what Mesopotamia is known as, Iraq. You understand? Yeah, y'all see it, this, man. The Greeks changed all this for you. Go ahead.
That they might be better understood among themselves.
Right, and the only reason they did it was so they would be able to know what the hell they were talking about. They didn't know about Hebrew custom. They didn't know about what was going on in Hebrew. They just said, hey, well, let's call this place something that is okay in our language. Just like white people do with you right now, right? As soon as you got off the boat, whoosh, your name's Toby. No, man, my name's Kunta Kinte. Hell no, I ain't saying Kunta Kinte. Your name's Toby. Whoosh. I want to hear you say it. Right? Tell me this ain't their culture, man. They change the names to sound more intelligible to themselves. You get in class, your name Jaquan. They over there, can I call you Jay? Jay Quan? Jay Quinn? Or what's your name, sir? Jaquan. Can we just call you Jay for short? No, nigga, that ain't the name my mama gave me. But what? They want to change your name to be what? More easily pronounceable by them. And they don't have no shame in doing it. When we learn another nation's name, we sit there and try to mull it over somewhere. At least we'll give them a nickname or something. But we know what their real name is, right? Esau will change your whole damn name. Esau will sit there and wipe out your whole culture out of your name. Y'all see that? That goes with them to this day. The Greeks started that. Their ancestors, the Greeks. Go ahead.
And setting agreeable forms of government over them, as if they were a people derived from themselves.
And they acted like they were a people that just popped out of nowhere, man. We came from ourselves. We came from the Greek gods. We came from the pantheon. That's what they do. They act like, well, where the Greeks come from? Well, we came from the Greek gods. What? Wait, y'all ain't humans like the rest of us? No, we came from the gods.
Oh, like Wonder Woman?
Yeah, Prometheus came down, brought fire to the earth. There was never fire before this Greek named Prometheus. He's the one that stole it from the gods.
So it's like everything came out of them.
Yeah. That's what they do. That's what it's saying. That's what he's saying right there. Is that they made it like they came from themselves.
Like everything came from them that they took over.
And that too.
Right. Okay.
Y'all see that? Nothing existed before Greeks. And now, when you learn history, what do you learn now? Oh, the Greeks were the cradle of civilization. How? Your founder died having sex with a horse. How is that civilized? Alexander the Greek got syphilis from his horse named Drosophilis. That's not a coincidence. He got a mysterious disease and died from a horse named Drosophilis. Come on, man, that's not a coincidence. Y'all not civilized. Y'all sleep with horses. Was that it on that?
That's it.
Let's go from there, man. Real quick.
It's 9:10.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Let's end it. That's your next. You got all of them.
Yeah, I wanted to hit that evolution real quick. Just have two scriptures.
Y'all want? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Let's just finish it.
Yeah, give me another 15 minutes. Bear with me, all right? We're going to hit this evolution real quick, breeze through it, and then we'll be out of here. Y'all cool?
Come.
Okay, just making sure. I'm not holding y'all hostage. 1 Corinthians 15:39. Let's hit this so-called evolution. Evolutionary theory by Charles Darwin is going to tell you that one species dies off and another one is created. Or another one evolves from that, right? So, I'm a fish, but I'm too brightly colored and the eagles keep coming down and eating me. So what I do is I develop something in my nature that I become more dull of color. Or I become more able to graft into my environment.
Blend into the water.
Right. I can camouflage myself. Right. Now, how do I evolve into that when I just got ate by an eagle?
Yeah, it don't make sense.
See, this is where the theory of evolution is why it's called a theory, because a theory tells you that upon conversation or speculation, it crumbles on itself. That's the definition of a theory. Look those words up, man. I'm telling you, it'll blow your mind. You'll be like, damn, they nailed this word theory onto everything and got us believing it like it's fact. But really, if you start talking about it, you sound so stupid, you gotta shut up. Because if I say, yeah, evolutionary, as soon as I'm saying evolutionary theory is when a species dies off and evolves into something else in order to survive its surroundings, I sound stupid as hell. I can't evolve if I'm dead. Like I said, watch that documentary, Animals That Defy Evolution. He's like, okay, the giraffe. He goes to the watering hole. Giraffe's neck is about, 15 feet long? The giraffe bends over his long neck. He gets a blood rush to his brain. All that blood slides downhill at, 9.5 meters per second? He slides downhill down his long neck straight to his brain. What happens?
Nothing.
I'm unconscious. Right? All that blood rushing to the brain, I'm unconscious. I'm dead.
But how does it drink water if it's unconscious?
We're gonna go into that. That's why the animal defies evolution. Because see, if I didn't have a creator, I'm the giraffe. I bend my neck over, right? I pass out. I'm at the watering hole. What other animals go to the watering hole?
Lions, all of them.
Any animal that lives off water.
Yes.
And then you got the crocodiles in the water.
Right, like predators and all that, right? So the lion comes, there's a passed out giraffe. What does a lion do with a passed out giraffe?
You get fat.
He eats the giraffe. The giraffe doesn't evolve. The giraffe is dead. See that? All right, he's lion food. So, the giraffe comes to the watering hole. He makes it through bending his long neck over, right? He actually lives through that. The lion comes, he hears the lion, he picks his head up. What happens?
Blood rushes to the head.
The blood rushes from the brain. Too quick.
He passes out.
9.5 meters per second. He's passed out. He's dead again. Where's the evolution? Nah, there's an intelligent design though. That when the giraffe goes to that watering hole, he bends his neck down, and he was created, designed with a spongy material, much like what's in your penis, that catches the blood flow, the excess blood flow, and traps it in a part of the brain so it doesn't all rush to the brain at once. And it controlled leaks that blood so it's at normal pace. So the giraffe can't pass out. Then when the giraffe lifts his head up, there's not too much blood in the head. It's the same amount of blood, so nothing's rushing away from the brain. Y'all see that? Bombardier beetles. They go through a whole list of all these animals that cannot have evolved. They would be dead. You understand? You, yourself. We're going to go through all that, though. Let's read this and let's see what's going on. Because evolution tells you that the mighty fish was swimming through the ocean, and he decided, I want to walk around on land. There's stuff I want to eat up there. So he started growing feet. Then this little mud skipper came out of the water, crawling on the sand, and he couldn't breathe because there's just oxygen around. So these gill slits just formed, and they they closed up, and he was able to just start breathing through his mouth all of a sudden. He didn't die from the lack of oxygen. No, he evolved. But this took place over millions of years. Yeah, that contradicts itself. Because the first mud skipper is dead. He come out, he can't.
No, the other one was smart enough to run back to the water, catch his breath, go back.
Yeah, see, you have to invent another stupid story to cover that.
Let me
Like, he saw the first one die, like, oh my God, he died.
Let me run back.
Back up, hold on. Let's try this again.
He had to exercise his lungs.
Right.
A little bit at a time.
Let me go down and just do some breathing exercises, right? And this took place over millions of years somehow. No, evolution don't work. When you explain it, it doesn't work. Y'all see that? But let's see what the scriptures say, because again, evolution falls apart on itself. It tells you that this one type of animal became this other type of animal. And then they want to tell you that you descended from monkeys. So you came from this fish and turned into a mud skipper. The mud skipper started breathing air. He started walking around, couldn't get away from the birds fast enough, so he developed arms and legs and lungs. And then that thing couldn't get to the stuff that was in the trees, couldn't get to the fruits and the vegetables and things that were in the trees. It needed to hide from the lions. So what did it do? This mud skipper grew arms and legs and a tail and jumped up into the trees and became a monkey. And in the process of eating all these bananas and things that was in the trees, this monkey decided he had to jump down out the trees again and walk as a man. But even though the mud skipper and all these other animals are supposed to have died off, right? They're still alive, coinciding and alongside humans, monkeys, and mud skippers and everything else. But evolution says they die off and another species is born. Right? Because they had to evolve in order to survive. Then why are the monkeys still alive? Why are the mud skippers still alive? Because only one thing explains that. That's in the scriptures. Man, read that.
1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 39. The same flesh.
There it is. You're not a monkey. You're not a fish. Sorry to burst your bubble, but if you don't believe me, take your ass down to Galveston, jump off the pier, and stay under the water. If you grow gills, I'll believe in evolutionary theory. You will not grow gills. There are plenty of skeletons under the water right now from a boat called the Titanic that can tell you, you will not grow gills. All right? Y'all remember the movie Titanic, right? Did Leo come swimming back up? Like, hey, you won't believe what the hell happened when I was down there. Nah. He died. All right? Where you at?
But there is one kind of flesh of men.
Because all flesh is not the same flesh. There's one type of flesh of what?
There's of flesh of men.
There's one type of flesh of men. Go ahead.
Another flesh of beasts.
There's another type of beasts. All right, so you're not Beastmaster. You're not going to go out there and all of a sudden, you know, you're surrounded by lions and you decide, and your body adapts and you start roaring like a lion and grow a tail so that you can survive. No, the lions just eat you. Huh? I mean, y'all seen the videos, hopefully. I seen them. That white man got out the car. His body didn't evolve. All right, go ahead.
Another of fishes.
There's another type of fishes. So you know you didn't evolve from fish. Fish are here and you're here at the same damn time. Go ahead.
And another of birds.
Now listen, you can test this. Get you a fish bowl, fill it with water, go to your local pet shop, drop a fish in the pet bowl, and wait. Let me know if the fish turns into your son. Let me know if you got to pack the fish a backpack and a sack lunch and send him off to school next year. It ain't gonna happen, right?
No.
Have you ever observed that? See, you're a scientist more than what they're scientists. Scientists are people that observe the natural phenomena around them and they write it down and they study it. Those guys, all they do is study theories, which is the ramblings of other stupid men. That's not science. Science is observable. You can look at it and see it and experience it. You can't experience evolutionary theory in anything. Do trees evolve?
Nope.
Trees been around so-called millions of years, right? Even though the oldest tree is only 6,000 years old. Coincides with the biblical account of how old history is. But apparently trees been around millions of years. Okay? You ever see a tree evolve? Outside of Lord of the Rings, did you see any trees walking around? It's not observable facts, man. That's not science. You can't see it. You got to have more faith in that than you do in the Most High. The Most High told you how he did it. There ain't not really nothing to believe. You could see it. He said, I said, let there be light, and there was light. Nikola Tesla came around 2,000 years later and told you, yeah, light is an effective sound on a medium. It's called the ether. Well, damn. So that means God did say, let there be light, and there was light. He made a sound. It went across a medium, and light got created. That's scientific. Huh? But light just coming out of nowhere, that's not really scientific. There's nothing scientific about something coming from nothing. Only your mama did that in the ghetto. Go ahead.
Verse 40. There are also celestial bodies.
There's celestial bodies, stars, moon, right? Go ahead.
And bodies terrestrial.
And there's earthly bodies, mud, dirt, rocks, earthly bodies, humans. Go ahead.
But the glory of celestial is one.
But the glory of the celestial is one, so you're not made out of space dust. You're not the cosmos, whatever the hell that is. You ain't read the cosmos, the universe, none of that in the Bible. Sorry to burst y'all bubble, man. You thought we was just part of this vast nothingness and we were just floating out here, right? No, we're the Most High's apple of his eye. We're it. He made earth and everything to revolve around it, the sun and moon and stars. That's why it's easy for him to care for you. But science wants you to believe you're so far away from the Most High, there's no possible way he cares about you. They want to destroy your faith. Nah, he said there's a glory of the celestial. There's things above your little sphere of influence, your little dome here. There's things above that, but they ain't got nothing to do with you, with what you're made out of. They're a whole different body than what you're made out of. You're not made out of galactic stardust spinning around in some nebula somewhere. You were made by the Most High. Breathed into you the breath of life by him. Go ahead.
And the glory of the terrestrial.
Don't you feel more special than you did when you was in science class? And they got that big giant thing? Or they took you to the planetarium and showed you the whole ceiling? And they were like, you're here. Somewhere there.
God.
Don't you feel a little more special knowing you was created by the Most High and all these things were made for you? Just like it said in 2nd Ezra 7, that the world was made for your sake. You're the fish in the bowl, man. When you get an aquarium, right? You ain't looking at all the fish in the sea. You looking at the type of fish you like. Put into a place where they can stay alive and not be killed by predators and be protected by you. We're the fish in the aquarium, man. We're the Most High special creatures. The ones he wants to watch and see what's going on with us and take care of us. That gives you hope. Not you're here. See that little dot in the ceiling tile right there? That's you, and all of that is the rest of creation. Come on, man. Where you at?
end of verse 40. And the glory of the terrestrial is another.
Right? So there's the glory of the earthly, that's a whole nother glory. Go ahead.
There is one glory of the sun and another glory of the moon.
Right, so they ain't made out of the same things. The moon and the sun are different. They're lights, but they're different types of lights. Go ahead.
And another glory of the stars.
And another glory of the stars. So no, the sun is not a star. They lied to you there. You understand? Yeah, the sun is not a star. You get that? No, I said there's a glory of the stars and there's a glory of the sun. They're different. Go ahead.
For one star differeth from another star in glory.
See, and even the stars are different from each other. That's why some blink, some don't. Huh? Go ahead.
Verse 42.
Some are brighter than others, some aren't. Go ahead.
So also is the resurrection of the dead.
Right, that was it on that. Oh, you got my phone.
Come right back.
Go to Luke, I'm sorry, Luke chapter 12, verse 27. This will be the last scripture. We're going to read 27 and 28. And this one, the Most High just be, I wake up from sleep and then boom. All of a sudden I just have these new thoughts of something. This one, you gotta be able to see. This one don't seem to have anything to do with evolution. We've read it a million times. But check this out. Read that.
Luke chapter 12, verse 27. Consider the lilies, how they grow.
Right. That's all you got to do is read that first part. Consider the lilies. What evolutionary purpose does it serve for a lily to be beautiful? What adaptation had to be made for it to survive?
It's not this.
Somebody wanted there to be a plant called a lily that looked like that. Plants, flowers, all right? We already got plants. They suck up our carbon dioxide, they spit out our oxygen that we use to breathe, right?
Got it.
So what the hell you need a flower for?
The bees they pollinate the flowers.
They do that. But they can pollinate other things too. Plants reproduce on their own too. Why do you need flowers? Some of them, they curl up and die and turn into fruit. Some. But tulips. You ever eat a tulip?
Nah.
You ever eat a tulip fruit?
Nah.
Because there ain't one. Why do you need tulips? Why do you need lilies? Now check this out. Read. This makes more sense than they evolved. Read this. Consider the lilies of the field. Think about them. Go ahead.
Consider the lilies, how they grow. They toil not.
How do the lilies grow? I take a seed, I plant it in the earth, right?
Go ahead.
Now the seed is spherical, right? 360 degrees all directions. How come when I put it in the earth it knows to grow up? Why don't it grow down? Why don't the flower grow in the dirt? What makes it go up every time?
Sun.
What directs it?
Sun.
The sun. That's what they say. Now, how do you plant a seed?
Darkness.
You plant it in the dirt. It ain't seeing no sun. You plant it at least a foot, maybe 6 inches to a foot down. It ain't seeing the sun. What tells the lily flower to grow up? Okay, now I'm going to keep considering the lily, because that's what Yahweh said. As this flower grows up, nobody gave it any direction. It grows up, it pokes its head through the dirt. Now it gets that needed sunlight to create photosynthesis. Huh? Now this is a beautiful flower. If you've ever seen a lily, it draws a lot of attention. What keeps the animals from eating the lily? There's no animals that really eat lilies. So what are they for? What is their purpose? There's no medicines you derive from lilies that I know of. They smell good. Well, who does that serve? That serves you, right? When you wake up and smell the roses, them roses don't have no other purpose but for you to smell them. Now the scriptures tell me the Most High made the world for our sakes. I got flowers sitting around that have no other purpose but for me to like their smell. Or me to rub them on my body so I can smell good. The scriptures is telling me what the plants are created for. What they were created for. Science is telling me that this all happened as a means of survival. But flowers don't need to survive. They don't have to do something or adapt or change to survive. Nothing eats a lily. Y'all see that?
God.
Read on.
They toil not.
And in all that, they don't do any work. To look that beautiful, they don't do any work. They don't be in the mirror. They don't got makeup. Right? No wigs, no weaves, no eyelash add-ons, none of that. But they're beautiful. Go ahead.
They spin not.
They don't spin. They don't do any sewing. Go ahead.
And yet I say unto you that Solomon in all his glory.
Solomon, richest king on the earth, in all his glory. Go ahead.
Was not arrayed like one of these.
He was never dressed as good as the lilies of the field. What evolutionary tactic did they have to come with in order to be dressed better than Solomon? This is not a philosophical question, man. It had to be a creation. There had to be a creator that said, I want these to look like this. I don't care that they serve any purpose. I just want them to look good. That's why the lily is the Most High's favorite flower. Y'all see that?
God, no.
The whole theory of evolution get break down in 2 scriptures, man. Consider the lilies. David said, when I consider the heavens, the work of your hands, what is man that you are mindful of? Those words, when they tell you to consider, that means think. Use your brain. Don't let somebody so-called educate you. Give you that science so falsely called. You understand? Because, trust me, I've been down the science path and it will not end well for you. You will sound stupid as hell, man. Just like I said, when you go on these YouTube videos and watch these guys break down any scientists outside of Tesla, they'll say the same thing we say right here in class. You'll be mind blown. The one guy was like, listen, they have a bunch of smarts, they have a bunch of big words and a bunch of book knowledge, but they don't have wisdom. That killed me right there. I'm like, damn, this dude don't even believe in the Most High. Even with all that knowledge, he still don't believe in the Most High. But he'll still tell you, these guys need wisdom. That's what they're lacking. Yeah. I mean, he went all into it, man. He burnt science to the ground, man. He's like, listen, you can't measure the speed of light anyway because it's not a quantitative field. And ask any of these guys to tell you what a field is anyway. They can't even explain what a field is. And all of nature works in fields. It doesn't work with mathematics. That's why they try to quantify everything, which is basically count everything. That's why they try to tell you there's a speed of light. Nah, that's the speed of light going across one medium. What about the fact that light is a wave? Don't waves come in different speeds? If I'm in the ocean, I start flapping my arms fast, what happens? A lot of waves, right? If I flap my arms slow, what happens? Big waves, less of them. Light is a wave. So something is acting on that force to make it either laser light that could burn a hole through your body, or that exact same amount of light, 5 watts, right? He was like, why is 5 watts in a laser able to burn a hole through your body? About 5 watts in the little, he had one of them little things, the little fiber optic things. You know, they look like a fur thing exploded.
Yeah.
And they got little lights on the end of them. He said 5 watts in here is harmless. The 5 watts in a laser burn a hole through your body. Because it's traveling across a different kind of medium. It's all about the wavelength of the light. Well, that means something is creating that force. And you don't know what it is yet. And science don't know what it is yet. And the best Nikola Tesla, who was a master of light, could do is call it an ether, which is still unexplained. All that is where the light travels through. Y'all see that?
God.
But the scripture's telling you point blank period, the Most High did that. A creator did that. Y'all see that?
God.
Throw away that science, man.
Any questions?
On any of it. We went through a lot.
They got anything online? I know we went over. But good class. It was a good class. It was a good class. That was a very good class. Again, we will not have class in either locations on Friday. Virginia won't have class, and we won't have class here because we'll be having the feast day. We're here at 9 o'clock on Friday. Okay? 9 o'clock on Friday. If you're able to make it, scriptures say gather together. Scriptures say forsake not the assembly of ourselves together. So if you can make it on Friday at 9, come out. We're going to be feasting. Alright? So we will not have class Friday, but we will be here at the school at 9. Kazakia and VA, they will not have class on Friday. They will be celebrating the feast day. So I know brothers, the brother and sister from Philly, they're gonna drive down. They're not that far away and celebrate. So again, if you're local in VA, you're local here in Houston, come on out. Khan? All right. With that, we're gonna say shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom. We'll see y'all back here on the Shabbat on Saturday. Shalom.
The Most High is my rock. The Most High is my rock. The Most High is my rock. In the name of Messiah, the Most High is my rock. The Most High is my rock. The Most High is my rock. Yeah. The Most High is my rock. I keep my Bible on top. The Most High is my rock. No time for cupcake and the cutting. Hit the streets and start cutting. The Israelites are bubbling. The Israelites are coming. I don't celebrate Thanksgiving. You can keep the stuffing. It's pagan, disdain, it's vain, it's nothing. The European Union about to hit the button. And I feel sorry for you if you think the Lord is bluffing. That's why I hit the booth and I tell the truth. Are you fishing with the truth? Homie, where's your fruit? If the Most High is your rock, don't treat him like a side piece. Come in this truth plan and treat you like a side piece. He's the God of mercy and wrath. So do you wanna fly or do you